Welcome, everyone, to the Red Pill Piranha. I am your host, James P. Madonna, alpha male activist, male rights activist, and I'm here with my co-host, the one and only from San Francisco, California, Mike Hilton. How are you doing, sir?
Shitty as could be. How about you over there, James?
Hanging in there. It feels like Armageddon. It feels like a zombie movie, Night of the Living Dead. It's really we're talking about the pandemic, folks. It's a bad situation. I live in northeastern New Jersey, and I have been under self house arrest. I have decided to comply with the rules. Unlike other people, I sanitize my hands very often. I keep my distance. I practice social distancing, at least 6 feet. With the Chinese, they say a meter. Who knows? Maybe a meter is 6 feet. I don't know. And I have a loud mouth, so I can hold the conversation a meter away from another humanoid. But what people need to start taking this pandemic seriously in America and in Europe. You know, like that. I was talking to this girl at the pizzeria, and she was saying that, we were talking about how the young people were upset that the pandemic was interfering with their spring break, and it's just shitty luck. It's not deliberate. It's just bad luck. And but they acted indestructible and like they didn't care, and they really should, because they could infect their grandmother, their grandfather, their parents, even though they're young. So in order to stop it, dead in its tracks, you have to stop the transmission. You have to adjust the curve so the transmission comes to a halt. And until, God willing, knock on wood, there's a vaccine or a successful drug, because don't forget, we have the medical scientists of the entire world working on this. So someone is bound to come up with a vaccine or a drug with all the great medical knowledge that's out there in the world. But the most important thing, like in China, my friends in Shanghai said there have been no new cases of corona in China because the government enforces the rules. Social distancing.
Oh shit, in China.
Social distancing mandatory, and of course, sterilization of the hands, wearing disposable latex gloves. The masks are primarily for people that have an infection that wish not to transmit it, but it wouldn't hurt. Now, if you don't have the proper medical mask, they said it's better than nothing. Get a bandana, fold it in half, and just tie it around your head. And, you know, you're going to look like a train robber from the Wild Wild West. But it's, you know, it's a double cloth from the bandana in front of your nose and mouth, even though you will look like a train robber. But let's just see what happens. It's been depressing, and I'll get through this show. Now, I want to touch upon a few subjects. Some of the top dating coaches say that a man must interject flirting while conversing with a woman that you're getting acquainted with, that you recently met and you're just starting to get to know her. They say you have to break the sexual tension by flirting. But another statement that these so-called experts make is that flirting with them gives them validation, which causes them to play mind games. So if you flirt with them to break the sexual tension so they do not place you in the friend zone, that's the whole premise, the whole idea of flirting and breaking the sexual tension so they don't put you in the friend zone. But at the same time, when you validate them, it inflates their ego and they start playing mind games with you. So it could backfire, the whole idea of flirting. But you really want to know off the bat where the relationship is going to go, and you don't want to waste your time if you're going to end up in the friend zone. So yeah, I'd say take a chance and flirt and break the sexual tension so she knows that your interest is not platonic. But we all know that validation causes a woman to play mind game. Now, there was a couple other issues. Okay, now another thing I want to notice before we get into the subject you were talking to me about this week. Women that are beyond the wall, post-war women, which means their sexual market value has plummeted because they're middle-aged or almost middle-aged. Their ovaries are drying up like raisins, like California raisins, and their sexual market value is down compared to a 21, 22-year-old female. But they're very delusional when they go on dating apps. They think very highly of themselves. They're very demanding of men. They have a long list of what they require, what's mandatory. Meanwhile, they might have some young rugrats running around from another man. They might have baggage, and they are up in years, 35, upper 30s, middle-aged. So they're post-war. So they're really in no position to call the shots and be demanding and nitpicky. So, of course, I made a little, I don't know if you want to call it a limerick or a rhyme. Delusional women past the wall like Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And they really are, they're just as delusional as the hypocritical neoliberal feminists that only care about power. They don't really care about women's equality, even though they insist that they do care. But their agenda is really power, because they really have a disdain for men, and they deep down wish they were born men, but tough shit. You know, that's the way the crab cake crumbles, man. You weren't born a man. So, you know, the post-war women are demanding, because they knew that because of men's higher testosterone level, they know men have a higher sex drive than a woman, so they're exploiting a man's sex drive to control them. That's why when a man gets married, you know, little by little, as time goes by, the man gets less and less sex from his wife, and he has to make appointments, and then it dwindles down to nothing. And then, lo and behold, she profusely complains all the time. She's never happy. Oh, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Well, like Coach Greg Adams said, I am not responsible for your happiness. If you're not happy, find yourself a shrink. You know, a man should not allow the woman to lay a big guilt trip on him. You know what I mean? Like, you should always maintain your own person and your own life. You should never give up your hobbies and interests. You should never give up the friends that you have things in common with, that you've been friends with for a long time. You should never give up your passions in life, because the woman that is providing you with the bearded cherry stone clam, providing you with sex, decide, you know, in her own mind decides, gee, he's hornier than me, and I am giving him the honor of being able to bang me and have sex with me. Therefore, I have a right to tell him what to do and to control him. And furthermore, my money is mine and his money is mine. That's another crazy idea that they put in their head, which is totally ridiculous. You know, so the post-war woman, to sum it up, is like when Herman Munster got up, got dressed to go to work, looked in the mirror and said, "You handsome devil, you," and then the mirror cracked. That's the post-war women, you know. It's totally delusional. They're legends in their own mind, and they're using a man's higher testosterone level and thus higher sex drive as a weapon against him, just like when they get engaged and then married to him, they use sex as a weapon too. Oh, if I say jump and you don't ask me how high, I am going to withhold sex from you. I am going to make you suffer, and perhaps you will sleep on the couch. Or some people say sofa. Interesting. So they're playing the no, not the gender. Well, they played a gender role to lay a guilt trip on people and seek pity, but they play the sex as a weapon role as a way to manipulate men into gaining power, because women don't have physical power. They don't really have financial power compared to men in the world. They don't have political power compared to men. You know, the only thing they have as the so-called weaker sex, even though they demand equality, the only thing they have is manipulation. So their ability to manipulate men by laying a guilt trip on you, withholding sex, that's their way of attaining power in the world. Because, you know, they don't really do the same job as a man in order to get paid the same as a man. Because if you work with them, they are always going to call you to help them. Oh, why don't you be a big, strong gentleman and help a lady out? Oh, gee, help a lady out. You're supposed to be equal. You're getting paid just as much as I am, perhaps more. The whole bullshit about the chivalrous gentleman provider only means sucker. And I know we've said this before. Now, what you brought up was the subject of ghosting. A woman gives you positive body language and signals. She's giving you strong signals. She's making eye contact, smiles perhaps, sometimes smiles more than once, and sometimes approaches you physically and starts conversing. So you're getting the strong signals and the strong body language. But then towards the latter part of the evening, you exchange phone numbers and you might start texting one another, with maybe small talk or maybe not. And then all of a sudden you don't hear from her. Hey, what, in layman's terms, what the fuck? Like my grandmother said in the old days, shit or get off the pot. Either you're interested in the man or you're not interested in the man. You don't give him obvious signals and then decide you don't want to reply to him. You don't want to actually date him or meet him somewhere or maybe come over to his apartment, it's like it's bizarro world is what it is. It's total bizarro world. Ghosting is it could be a mind game. It could be a way to make you sweat it out because they're so insecure, Mike Hilton, that they want you to earn that bearded cherry stone clam, that vagina. They want you to work hard for it and sweat for it. So, what is your take on this ridiculous ghosting that happens to it happens to a lot of people? It's common.
What's my view on it, James? Well, my view on ghosting is that usually it means that the polarity was off. So there was something off about the polarity. And oftentimes, you can't really pick it up in a conversation that you might see between a man and a woman. But say a woman does show these very passive-aggressive signals that are very non-committal, and she's kind of giving off this attitude of, "Oh well, you can come over if you want. I might rob you of all your money and really make you work for my attention to the point where you've almost been scammed by me." But there's nothing really there happening in terms of chemistry. It's a false friendship. It's a dating scam. She didn't even really give him any verbal declaration, therefore real permission. It's very difficult to tell what's going on in people's minds. So the whole idea of nonverbal cues, first of all, is flawed because there are many times during my day when maybe smiling, but maybe thinking of something that does not make me smile. So it's very difficult to tell. If you want to be safe and if you want to not get rejected, and most importantly, you don't want to get ghosted by a woman, I really highly suggest that all you do is go to a bar and just show up. And usually, the woman who talks to you first can't speak to individual situations because that's private. Don't want to. I don't kiss and tell, but what will happen is because she's talking to you first, it lowers the chance of rejection and it almost completely eliminates the chance of ghosting. So the polarity was correct, and it was a man to woman scenario. How do you accomplish this? Well, you have to be patient. You can pay attention to her making an IOI that's maybe a little bit more physical, say bumping. Maybe she does that more than once. If it's just one time, it was incidental, and I would even refer to that as a rejection. Because if she was truly interested, she wouldn't make you jump through all those hoops from day one of the game to day, say, 10, when she's finally ready to give in. That's just a complete fucking waste of time, and it's totally mentally hurdling and physically a free for all fuck up. It's just not worth a sane, non-amogged guy's time, in my view.
Yeah. Well, what like this very smart woman from Vancouver, British Columbia, she's called the Wingman. She's a coach. She says,
Wing girls?
well, she uses the word wingman. She says, get over it and move on. If she does not make it obvious that she's interested in you and she does not stay with you in public, if she's not hanging with you, just get over it, move on. Either they're into you or they're not into you. So all these coaches that are online that are selling books or DVDs, what it really comes down to is they're ripping people off, because there is no magic. There is no secret. Either the person feels romantic chemistry or they do not. Either the girl is into you or she's not. The same thing goes for a man. There is no science in romantic chemistry. You can't use psychology and like in the old days when you used to see books in the back of what is it, Field and Stream magazine, hunting magazine, fishing magazine, where there's a book that is titled "How to Pick Up Girls" or "Picking Up Girls Made Easy," and there are still these charlatans today that claim they have this secret to conquering women and manipulating them, and in reality, like this old Filipino friend of mine said, a man thinks he is seducing the woman, but in actuality, she is allowing him to seduce her because she has chosen him.
That's polarity. That is also known as pre-selection or natural selection.
Yes.
When a guy has high favorability with women and has a good standing with women, usually because he's taken kind of the way you look, James, with your nice clothing and your fitness. A guy who takes care of himself, and a guy who's focused on his own.
Thank you.
On his own health.
Well, I worked out today with my resistance power bands. I did a full body workout. I exercise 6 days a week. I do 3 different systems, and each system I work out twice a week. And they're 3 totally different workout systems. And I try to take care of myself. And thank you for your kind words. And I also try my best to keep myself busy in my hobbies and do the things I enjoy. And that is the best advice I could possibly give any male, is to never give up your passions and your interests and hobbies and your good friends. If you have really good friends, I mean, not friends that are going to cockblock you. I mean, friends that will look out for your best interest. Don't let any woman come in between them or your family if you happen to get along with your family. If you have great family, don't let any woman get in between, because I've seen it happen. I've seen the significant other get jealous and selfish and insecure and try to keep the man she's with from his friends and from his family. And the man must fight hard not to let that happen.
Yes.
And it's really sad when a man allows it to happen. I've seen it happen personally in my family with a very close family member. And it's sad.
Yeah, it's really just a shame how some women will fabricate high levels of interest, and a guy will be totally. I know, because I used to fall for this kind of thing a lot, running around the bar like an idiot, and you're just totally gullible about the whole thing.
Well, they'll manipulate the truth. They'll put words in your mouth. They'll accuse you of doing and saying things that you never did or say. And this is what this is what a narcissist does. And we have been joined by the one and only Damien Owens, aka the Wolfman. Wolfman, where are you? Where are you, great Wolfman?
I'm here. I just don't feel like turning on my webcam right now because I am very infuriated right now.
Oh, you mean you're very disgusted over something that happened tonight?
That and just the overall bullshit. So I'll turn it on here in a little bit. I'm not in a great mood.
Yeah, you know what you do? You know what you do? Decompress right now.
Yeah, I'm decompressing.
Yeah, just let the ice water is pouring over the nuclear reactor. The meltdown is being cooled. Just relax. I'm a little shooken up myself by things. I feel like I'm in a real zombie movie.
That's partly why I'm pissed.
I feel like I'm in a zombie movie, and not that it's zombie related, but Mr. Mike Hilton, do you have a fermented beverage, as they say in France?
Beverage. Well, 1 second. Gotta get the bottle.
Oh, it doesn't have to be a French beer. Just get something that you never showed us.
It should have been a beer de garde, though. Luna Joe cold brew coffee lager.
Oh, I forgot. Hold on, I forgot. Oh, okay. What do you got? Coffee lager?
Got a coffee lager called Luna Joe.
Luna Joe. Yeah, show it. Let me see.
Cold brew coffee lager, James, and it is by Deschutes Brewery over in Bend, Oregon.
Joe. Where does it say Deutsche?
Yep, with a 5% ABV.
Jawohl. Let me see the Deutsch. I want to see the Deutsch. I want to see Deutsch. Okay, there you go. All right.
And then, all right. Here's a beer, and it looks like coffee. Not the aroma's quite nice. It's very coffee in aroma. It's very piney. It's very coffee. It's a lot like a cold brew. It has that nitro feel to the beer. So, giving it a 97 out of 100. It's a 97 out of 100. Also had Mike's Pizza. The Mike's Wild Pizza, the Lil Timit pizza by Mike's, and that was awesome. That was a 99 out of 100.
What kind of topping did Mike's Pizza have?
Mike's Pizza has toppings primarily of just meat and pepperoni, and that might sound a little bit rudimentary, but the way that they cook the meat and the pepperoni really pops out.
Does that mean
So it's that.
you had rhubarb topping on it? Rudimentary rhubarb? I'm only kidding. You know what I had tonight, gentlemen? I had a stromboli with mozzarella cheese and pepperoni inside.
How'd you cook that?
Yeah, it's like I got it at the Three Brothers, or however many brothers it's named after, the pizzeria around the corner. And actually, that's the only food, aside from markets getting wiped out. The only other food businesses allowed are takeout, and they're thriving, man. They are cranking. They're cranking because people are sort of under house arrest, and the demand for ordering food out is very high. So they're really cranking away, and
If I may for a second, that's good news about at least some parts of the economy booming. It can't stop all the economy. Even 2008, some parts were probably still good, but now James, people are under house arrest, and you may think that if you go outside, you are in a state of impunity, and no. If you're doing something and somebody sees it, say they report you, a cop really almost could, maybe not, but it could happen. A cop could at least detain you, maybe even arrest you. There's a guy going to jail for hiding his symptoms, heard earlier this week. So you really don't have any freedom of movement right now. When somebody declares war in this state, they basically have declared martial law, and the Constitution has been under suspension since this whole outbreak became a state of emergency and a closure. Now, the shelter in place, that's really for other things. Cuomo said that it's Governor Cuomo referred to shelter in place as more tragic events that take place. But this is not a shelter in place. It's a mandatory closure. And if you do go outside, and if you're doing a lot of things outside that just don't belong, what if you're trying to interact with people outside? You could get your ass arrested right now.
Well,
and they have complete and total authority to do that. It's totally legal.
I have a loud mouth, so I could talk to people 1 meter away. I don't have a problem conversing with you for a little bit of a distance. I mean, now
too much.
What about the 5G theory? The conspiracy theory of switching to 5G and enslaving us utilizing 5G. I posted a video about that on Facebook. I know Mr. Oh, okay. He'll be back. Yes. Yes.
I think he's messing with us.
No, he don't do that. He's serious. He means business. No, he don't. If he did, he would be smiling or laughing a little bit. Yeah, but anyway.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah, well, he had a difficult day. It's possible. It's I can imagine people that work in food service and in markets, what they're going through, because people are panicking in the stores. People are fighting over. I watched a video of two overweight women fighting over toilet paper. And
are they trying to get sick?
And you know what my official James P. Madonna toilet paper invention is? You take
James Bond. Sorry, James P. Madonna.
Yeah, my ass wipe system. You buy a large box of store brand discounted baby wipes. You don't get no Huggies or any of these companies where you're going to pay more. Get the store brand. Sometimes you'll get 70 in there. Get the big one. You stock up on hydrogen peroxide. You pour a bottle of hydrogen peroxide into the large quantity of baby wipes, and now you have antibacterial wipes. Now, they don't fall apart when you wipe your ass. You can dig in real deep. You can get in that, you can really get in that anus and clean yourself like you never cleaned yourself before, and it'll be disinfected, it'll be squeaky clean. You'll end up, you won't see a brown spot on the wipe. Usually sometimes it takes 2 wipes to achieve the clear wipe look. And they're flushable.
Yeah, maybe it's just a lot of the time when we're not sick, a lot of us are still saying, my ass is on fire.
Well, the anus should always be washed when you take a shower. I happen to use a very powerful shower head that's cannot be sold in American stores. It's imported from Europe. And
Melee? What's it called? Melee?
It's called Cyroflex. SIRO Flex. And it's designed for people with low water pressure. And it blasts you. So it will blast you. That's all I can.
Probably have your shower.
It'll be pretty damn good. Like whatever you're used to now, like if you got that typical bullshit Delta shower head or Moen or the hotel type shower head,
No, I have a blaster.
I don't like this low flow shower head bullshit.
I got a blaster, but
yeah, I like the Seinfeld episode. I don't go for low flow. I like to get blasted because I'm very meticulous when I clean. Very meticulous. And women should be meticulous too, by the way.
Yeah, no.
You should.
Man.
Yeah, they should use, I don't know, whatever they use down below, it should be the right formula.
You know why they say that? Why they say you should clean up a lot more? Because if they don't, this is bad, but if they don't clean up themselves and then you're not cleaning up, you're going to have a whole huge mess.
Yeah. Well, I've known guys that were so horny that they didn't care if the woman was having her menstrual cycle, and they ended up with a bed sheet full of blood, and they didn't care because that's how horny they were. Hey, more power.
Just a myth. That's just a myth that one gender cleans more than the other. That's really a non-gender issue.
Yeah, you know what I hate besides slobs? I hate hoarders, people that hoard.
People at the store. I work at a supermarket, so I know it's difficult to want to help them out. It is. They may have good intentions, but they're just depleting the daily volumes that we get. They're keep telling you over and over and over again that the grocery store is an essential function. So you are probably not going to run out. You are not going to be deprived.
Well, they're being selfish is what they are. They don't believe in rationing and sharing. And during a time of crisis, people have to work together. They have to cooperate. So you stay.
Seeing couples. Sorry, James. I know I keep talking, but seeing couples out walking. No. One of you guys go out for a walk. You take turns.
Yeah.
She goes out for a walk first, and after that, he goes out for a walk first.
Well,
together, like it's that scene in the movie Inception with the empty city. It's just no. Well, I don't care how polarized it is.
This is why my friends in Shanghai, China, tell me that there has been no new cases in China because the government enforces strict laws and rules. Even in a supermarket, you must stay 1 meter away from everyone.
especially in a supermarket. You know how many, how much stuff flies around. And you know what? It's good to take a break for a while. And if you're not going to take enough of a break for a while, who knows, it might get forced on you. China took what, James, like 2 weeks to recover from everything. That I say it's a genius move, and it gives me more ideas for reviews. If you're bored, have a YouTube channel. Get a little bit more digitally aware. What's your take on that, James? Taking a break, especially from the dating scene for a while, because people were scared about. I think people were talking last weekend at the pub, but they weren't trying to. How do I say this so that I'm not talking about like specifics? People, even conversation, whether it's dating or not, people really are trying to keep things a bit brief right now. So even closer friends, they will end the conversation. We're lasting a little too long. I don't want to catch something.
Well,
when I break.
When I took the New Jersey Transit bus, there was only like 3 or 4 people on the entire bus, including me. I mean, it's a ghost town out there. It's literally like a zombie apocalyptic kind of movie. It's and Damien is very aware of what I'm talking about. It's very weird. It's but China did an outstanding job stopping any new transmission cases, because they simply enforce the social distancing as well as
or socialism.
People, well, some shows don't appreciate that word, and we get a bunch of stupid flag waving, brain dead people making comments. But I'll have something to say someday about that guy that follows Ronald J. Terrio. The commies are shutting down our stores. The commies, the pinkos. Yeah.
Greg Abbott's doing it.
Yeah. Just transmit the pandemic and have the whole United States like totally wiped out. I mean, what a stupid ass he was. But now's not the time, because this is right now is the time for beer reviewing and food reviewing and just general chit chat.
Just want to say though that Greg Abbott is doing the same things as, say, Gavin Newsom is.
Who's that?
So that argument doesn't. Greg Abbott, governor of Texas.
Who is he? But is he related to Bud Abbott from Abbott and Costello? Who is this guy?
I don't think so. Greg Abbott has been a 2-term governor. He defeated first a national pro-abortion activist in 2014. There was talk then of Texas being closed, even though it was a red wave back then. Really no chance in hell.
So this guy thinks a fertilized egg is actually a human baby?
I think he probably does, but even he is talking about closures. And Kansas Democrats, probably conservative Democrats, they're talking about closures too. Laura Kelly shut down schools for the rest of the year. There's no school.
Well, Joe Biden and his hairy legs is
hairy legs.
I'm so glad that Americans are coming together and not talking about politics. That's why I got so mad Thursday on Jay's show, because with what's going on with the pandemic, it's not appropriate to bring up something stupid like the commies are keeping our stores from opening for business. What a jack.
So you feel like you're a bit of a piranha discussing these topics, but then
I am a
piranha. You're more aware than other people because you don't want to discuss politics. That's good.
No, I don't talk. I haven't talked about politics in a while because I'm all shooken up about what's going on. I mean,
funny how the people. Yeah.
Well, plus Bernie Sanders got screwed by the oligarch again, So what's the sense of me, busting a gasket over it? He got fucked again.
I'm a Bernie guy, but he didn't run the best campaign, I mean, he could have done as well as last time. He lost states that he won last time.
But you know why? Because people are afraid of change. They're afraid of socialism. They want business as usual because they're afraid of real change because they're pussies. You gotta sometimes you just gotta jump off the diving board, Mike. If you're afraid of swimming and you're learning, sometimes you just gotta reach for it and and jump. I mean, these people, nothing's gonna happen unless real action is taken. Like remember Dallas, the show Dallas? J.R. Ewing's father, John Ross Sr., says, real power is never given to you. It's something that you take. The guy with the wavy gray hair, he actually died during, he died for real. He never finished the series. But the father is something you take. Nobody gives it to you. Now,
exactly.
There's Damian Owens.
Hey,
man.
I'm doing pretty good, but I do have a little bit of a show for Sunday night as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now, and y'all can say whatever. I'm convinced this whole entire thing is just one big psychological operation, that you are being brainwashed, you're being manipulated, and you're being controlled, and it's time to wake up before it is too late. Now, I'm not just ranting, raving, and blowing off some steam here. I got a little evidence to support this claim. It's no coincidence that in China, in Wuhan, a very heavily industrious part of China, not known for great pollution control standards and also known for terrible air quality. It's just no coincidence that all of a sudden these heavily polluting factories shut down, the air quality in China improves, and this virus is going away on its own. No quarantines, no vaccination, no medicine, no treatment, no nothing. And here's why that is so key, because they don't want that to be known. They want to placate on people's fear, the fear of the unknown, like James was talking about. And here's how they're playing on the fear of the unknown. This is nothing new, groundbreaking, revolutionary. It's a tried and true method. They do it every single time there is a crisis like this. This virus can be very easily dismissed as, just allergies, a cold, flu, or at most, pneumonia. At most. And in fact, not every single death that they suspect of coronavirus is being tested. So not 100% of cases that they suspect of coronavirus death is not being tested. There's not going to be 100% accuracy in terms of reporting numbers. And yet, not everyone is going to go get tested, because even if they just mildly get it, they would think, oh, it's just allergies, it's just a cold, it's just the flu, I'll get over it. So there's not even going to be an accuracy in terms of the reporting of cases. So that's what they're trying to placate on, not knowing how many numbers of deaths or actual reported cases. And that's why they're building up all this fear and hysteria to brainwash you, to manipulate you and control you. So that way you go out and do all this stupid bullshit they're doing now. So I'm sorry. Now is not the time to be a sheep. Now is not the time to be the shepherd. Now is the time to be a wolf.
I agree.
And that's all I got to say about that for right now.
Well, consider this part one, or an introduction. Well, part one, as it will be continued. It will be continued this Sunday in more detail. So that gives you a tidbit of it's not just deductive reasoning and noticing certain telltale signs and trends. There happens to be some, like Damian Owen says, some concrete evidence to support this conspiracy borderline fact about all of a sudden the National Guard might or will be called out to.
Yeah, I heard that the National Guard may be called out. There may be a mandatory 2-week rest period that is put into place.
Rest or arrest. It's more like
forgot the A.
Yeah.
Forgot the A.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a precursor to martial law. I'm calling it.
But the martial law is certainly on the table. Yeah.
As on edge as Americans are right now, if there's serious talk about it and they start arming up to prepare to do it, that's it. That will literally shatter this illusion right then and there, because people will see right through the facade that, it wasn't for safety, it was for a truly evil intention. And in fact, people here in Tennessee, they're not buying this bullshit. Straight up. They're not buying it. In fact, you know what people are doing in Tennessee right now? They're stocking up on food, they're stocking up on the essentials, and you go to a gun store here in Tennessee, there's so many people, good luck getting anything. My wife was able to get some ammo for her 22 and also for my AK, but I've got some additional AK magazines getting ready to come in, and I'm prepared. This martial law happens, I hope it doesn't, but if it does happen, I'm prepared and I'm going to stand and fight.
Hey, my brother-in-law says in New Jersey he has never seen such long lines for people applying for gun permits. This is just a permit to have one. I mean, it doesn't even come close to the residents of Tennessee what they're allowed to possess, to own. So, people even up here smell something very foul in the air that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just bring something up. If 80% of all people who contract the coronavirus have been totally recovering with only typical influenza symptoms, some of them mild, people without any underlying pre-existing illnesses, if they're completely recovering at 80%, and that would put the death toll of the regular, everyday, every year influenza much higher. So if many more thousands of people die from regular influenza that people get flu shots for every year, then how does something that has an 80% success rate of recovery be a pandemic that practically shuts the nation down?
Exactly, and that's what they're trying to placate on the fear is, it's so minute in the overall picture of things, but that's why they're also turning into a witch hunt, because they're conditioning you to fear those who might get the virus. That's what this is all about. It's about brainwashing you, manipulating you, and controlling you to where you are scared of your own shadow. You are scared to do this. You are scared to do that. Me, I'm not buying this hysteria. I'm not buying in this bullshit. You know what I do every day? I'm going out and living my life as is normal. The only little lifestyle change I've made is I'm washing my hands more frequently and I'm sanitizing more. I still socially interact. I'm still talking to people. They're getting within, a certain amount of proximity to me. And guess what? Nothing is fucking happening. Wake up, people.
I mean,
yeah, it's not quite like the pandemics they show in the movies, like with Planet of the Apes.
Well, Ebola is way more serious than this. I mean, you remember, and then they stopped talking about it, but that was scary as hell.
Can you still get it? Can you still get Ebola, or is it gone?
It exists. It's just that it just halted. You know what I mean? It just mysterious. They just mysteriously stopped talking about it. It wasn't in the media.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the media anymore.
How are you going to feel about the dating game once everything kicks back into motion? Are you going to want to really even partake? Anymore?
The girls were paranoid as hell before. Can you imagine how they are now with the social distancing?
Oh, yeah,
they were distant before coronavirus.
So with polarity, that's really going to mess up polarity for a while.
They want everybody to wear maybe garbage bags and you know, like.
Oh, I talked to a girl in a mask one time. It went pretty well. I mean, it could have been a little bit more man to woman, but it still went okay. What happened was we didn't progress toward a date, but there was chemistry there. Partially the mask was what inspired the whole thing, actually. I said, hey, what are you wearing a mask for? You don't have to worry about anything. And
who said that?
Something like that. I said that. I was just.
I mean, well, the mask, like I said before, the mask, according to the top doctors, is only for people that have the infection that do not wish to spread it. If you
could have had some kind of infection.
Yeah, if you're healthy, what's going to infect you is bringing your hands up to your mouth, nose, and eyes. It's going to go from the hands to the face. That's how you're going to get it, you know. Or if somebody coughs in your face, which today people they'll get their lights punched out if that happens.
Well, somebody did something earlier where they kind of projected their face toward me while they projected their face toward me while they were exhaling, and I just
your volume, your microphone volume needs to be pumped. Pump up the jam, pump it up. You know, so
that's as high as it's gonna go, buddy.
All right, that's not bad.
But yeah, I just looked at the person like. I just looked away in fear. You know, I don't want that cough, man. I don't want you exhaling on me, man. It's hard to even stand next to people right now. So yeah, how's the dating scene and how are polarity when girls really want to avoid guys right now? How's dating and polarity going to be compromised by this virus? It may go away, but there will be the after effect. There will be an after effect. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Well, there'll be an after effect simply because that women are just ultra paranoid as it is about men.
For a good reason.
You know, like, first of all, we have one strike against us. We're born male. So... Men just want to have sex, and then they feel that men, you know, have sex, and then they leave them, which a lot of guys do, unfortunately. You know,
I'd like to keep them around. I don't like to have a one-night stand, but I don't like relationships, but I don't like one-night stands either. There's an in between that you can do.
Yeah,
and it tends to happen. You know, you've known somebody for a while. I think you've known them for a while. Also.
Well, you know what it is. It's like people form patterns, and I guess genders form patterns and races form patterns. You know, like for instance, the Asian woman. You have an Asian friend that you date, right? They're very quiet, conservative. They don't show a lot of emotion like other races. But they sure make a lot of babies in China. That's my joke with my friend in Shanghai. I says, you girls are so conservative personality-wise and unemotional, but you sure as hell make a lot of babies.
She laughed. Did she laugh at that?
Yeah, she laughed. You know, like your girlfriend is like that too, right? She's very, I don't want to say robotic, but you know.
I don't have a girlfriend, man.
No, you know an Asian girl.
I knew a couple Asian girls. I went out with a couple of Asian girls, but
Oh, okay.
I don't have a girlfriend.
Oh, all right.
No, I don't do girlfriends. That's not my area.
Right. You're red pill and you go your own way and do your own thing. Now, what else can you tell us about that interesting coffee lager?
Oh, I finished it, but what the beer says it has the beer has embers or warm embers, it says. And then
What does that mean? Has chili peppers in it? Warm embers.
I don't know what embers are, but it says Riff cold brewed coffee. So if you think about Pete's or Starbucks, Pete's or Starbucks and what they do with nitro coffee, this is basically what it is, just with alcohol. It's not really a lager, but it's still a nice coffee beer.
Oh, all right. It's a flavored ordinary beer with coffee. Embers is what you see in a fireplace, like the red hot pieces of wood. Like
exactly, yeah.
Flying around. Like, yeah, you don't want them landing on you. But,
oh no.
Do you have any? You have a craft beer or a macro in your refrigerator like right now that you crack open?
Are you talking to me or Mike?
No, well, Mike, but you know, you too, if you have one.
Not tonight. I'm saving mine.
All right, Mike.
You're rationing your beer.
Mm-hmm. That's what they're doing down here. They're rationing a lot of stuff.
Alcohol.
No.
Even alcohol too. Wow.
No, they're not rationing it. It's just a lot of stuff is being rationed. Like they've imposed limits on different things you can buy. So a lot of people were panic buying different foods. So here's pretty much all we've done down here. So there's no instituted curfew. They haven't put really like a ban on gatherings, as far as I can tell.
A lot of bars and pubs.
They seem to be doing okay. Like what I was getting ready to tell you was so like they're rationing food. So like you can only buy like 2 things of meat, 2 things of veggies, 2 things of fruit, 2 things of toilet paper, 2 things of hand sanitizer, 2 things of cleaning products, and they are strictly imposing these limits. And in fact, some people are getting like so pissy over it that it's come down to rationing. Well, it's just like, the fuck, you people have caused this fucking disaster of rationing. Maybe, just maybe, if you didn't panic buy, there wouldn't be rationing. Now, would there? I mean, did they not think that?
If they took care of themselves, there wouldn't be an illness.
Exactly. Now, we have had some modification of store hours. Like, the earliest places are closing at like 8:30. We are closing at 10 o'clock. The whole store closes at 10 o'clock. Now, the reason why they're doing that is they're having to close so early and bring in so many people to stock overnight. It's just shit's flying off the shelves like crazy. And here's how they've allocated hours. So they've allocated like the first hour or two, like from 6 to 8 for early birds, you know, for the senior citizen shoppers. And then they've allocated like from 8 to about 10 o'clock for regular business hours. Now, from about 10:01 to about 11 o'clock is when associates of particular stores can do their shopping. Now, there won't be any like main registers open, but they'll still keep like self-checks open, and managers will still stay to make sure, you know, all the money is still counted for and that, you know, they do the closing operations. But at least, you know, we're not to the point to where, we're having to stay home, we're having to do this, we're having to do that. It's just, yeah, this is a little inconveniencing, but I mean, if people weren't being such dumbasses and not panic buying, we wouldn't have this problem.
It's just really unbelievable how psychologically somebody does something and puts them into danger, and then they panic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's completely all the wrong ways.
Exactly. The best way you control someone or control a whole population, fear. You can instill fear in them. You can do them. You can control them and have them bend to your will, however far you want them to. Because the moment you create something for them to fear, they'll throw reason, logic right out the window. And they will give up so many things to ensure they're safe. And you know what? It's nothing new. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing revolutionary. They've done this time and time and time again throughout history. So it's just like
beta males. We should ban beta males from the bar, pub, and dating scene, and then that could create plenty of fear, so that they stop fucking up. Stop trying to amog smart guys. With their lady,
beta male orbiters. Yeah, because those are the guys. Those are the guys that I'm still trying to analyze them. Those are the guys that pay for absolutely everything, and they're the providers, and then they end up, and then the wife becomes a cougar, and she ends up fooling around with Julio, the pool boy, or the garden.
See? Yeah, they're so keen. They're so keen on trying to tell me what to do, but they can't see that. First of all, if you're bugging a guy and a girl, even if she goes to you, she's gonna eventually do that to your ass all the same. So how are you immune from amogging, cock blocking, cheating, whatever? If a girl is already with a guy, it doesn't concern you, and she does that to him, who's to say that she's not going to do that same thing to you?
Exactly.
Well, really, do you really want to be a provider that has to work 2 jobs or long hours and pay for everything? I mean, do you want that?
No, you don't want to pay taxes for other people's poor fucking health. Why would you want to provide for half their lifestyle anyway?
For some reason, when I tell right wingers like Ronald J. Theriot, when I tell him that the middle class should get all the tax breaks and the middle class should not be carrying the tax burden, only the wealthy, nobody ever answers me when I say that. They don't say nothing. Because they have this obsession.
They lost the argument.
They have an obsession with war on the poor. They always wage war on the poor. For decades, conservatives have a problem with poor people, and they want to blame them for everything.
Exactly. Until it's time to send them to another war. Yeah, another favorite thing America loves to do. Fucking war. I mean, look at our over 200 plus year history and look at how many wars we have been in.
Constantly.
Exactly. Let's see here. The Revolutionary War. Then we had the War of 1812, the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Persian Gulf I, Persian Gulf II, Iraq, Afghanistan. Those are just the international wars.
Right.
Sorry.
Nicaragua. You say, the Contras.
Yeah, the Contra. Well, that really wasn't a war. That was more of a skirmish. Yeah, wars can also include skirmishes, but skirmishes can just be, independent all on their own.
The military-industrial complex with legal slavery. Oh, what you got there, Mike Hilton? You got a beverage?
I hear you guys there.
Yeah.
Hope you guys hear me here.
Well, let's see it. I don't see it. Blind Pig? Looks like
Mr. Russian Brewing Company.
Oh, wow. Isn't that cool? Blind Pig. Oh, what type of beer is it?
It's an American IPA clocking in at a weird decimal, 6.25% ABV. Wonder what the 0.5 What is it with all these decimals? But
Yeah,
hold on there. I'm
Point
going to search up the 6.25 ABV.
6.2. That's
And
25.
70 IBUs. It's 70 IBUs. Really fucking bitter.
That's 40%, right? That's 6.25. 25 is a quarter, right? 1/4.
Yeah. I wonder
1/4.
what the 1/4 of 7% is about.
Percent out of 100. The
Really,
blind
really
pig.
weird. Here's a cap. Big bottle. It's a really bitter beer. It looks like it has more bitter units than alcohol units.
Michael, you have a glass?
I do have a glass. A lot of bubbles.
Oh, you got a nice tulip glass.
Beer before.
You got a tulip. Cheers to you. From San Francisco, California. You got a tulip glass. That's so you always has that nice mango, fruity look to it. These IPAs like that, like a smoothie.
Oh yeah, James, they're really pleasant. When they're made really well like this, they're very pleasant on the palate.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, hold it up.
Beer left in the bottle.
Hold it close to the camera. Let's see the beauty of this IPA.
You guys are IPA people.
No,
here's a look at.
We're mesmerized by any type of beer done, beer of quality, anything of quality, stouts, porters.
Bubbles, dark night rising. You see the bubbles, even it looks, guys, it looks like champagne. It looks like champagne. Intense sediment. It is a very unfiltered beer, man, and that happens with IPAs a lot. Intense ass sediment. It's an assy beer. It's an assed beer that we got. Good glazing on the glass. They chilled the shit out of the motherfucker prior to selling, so that's pretty good. Always like a good chill. High body beer. It's got the high body beer, even though really only 6% high body beer. That's got the aroma. Oh man, it's just like that IPA that you seemed a little bit crazy about in the last episode. It just has peach, mango, apricot, tangerine, nectarine, anything you can think of. It's a tropical, pure bliss. This is why my Friday, quarantine or not, has always kind of been a quarantine anyway. Just want to get a load with these ladies.
It's a great quarantine craft IPA.
Oh yeah, it's a partner that you will never miss. You'll never. It's a partner that you'll never miss out on. It's a lady that you will never miss out on.
Hey,
so sorry, James. When I'm talking about the ladies, I was talking about these ladies.
What do you think? What do you think of this name for the show during the lockdown? Called Pandemic Pagoda.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Oh, speaking of pagoda, Donald Trump is starting to piss off the Asian journalists by calling it the Chinese virus. It's a Chinese virus.
It kind of, Gary might agree with me a little bit. It kind of is the Chinese virus, dude. I mean, it's from China. It originated from there. So
that's what Trump said. It's from China. He said, because it's from China. It's a Chinese virus.
Yeah, it's where I agree with Trump, and where I think there's a lot of political. I mean, you're the politically incorrect guy. So
yeah, but they don't know where.
Sometimes that requires that you be a little bit more patient than you want to be. I feel we have to be patient here.
But they're not sure where it's from. What if it's from an exotic wild animal that occurs in other parts of the world also, or was brought from another part of the world to Wuhan province?
That could be the case. That could be the case.
It can be Chinese then, right?
Yep.
It's called independent critical free thinking. Think Wuhan province. They're not sure where it comes from. They had a black market endangered species animals in cages. okay,
Oh,
that
that's bigger. So,
eyewitnesses have seen. All right, but they're not sure what creature it came from. So it might not be a so-called Chinese virus, like Trump says, but Trump has
might
to
not.
make everything like a racial issue.
Well, that's where it sounds. Yeah, it sounds like he's trying to employ what you talked about, James, which is trying to get political in the middle of all this shit. And it's that's just really a fucking dumbass move. If you just want to say, "Hey, man, it's from China," as far as I'm concerned, it's a Chinese virus.
Well,
That's all you had to say. You didn't have to get into any. Chinese are not welcome here. Well, they're not sick, and we are.
yeah, how many
that's another
people in
issue.
Chinatown in the United States really are infected? And now, if it came from a panda, then you could honestly say, oh, it's a Chinese virus. But it didn't come from a panda. It didn't come from a panda.
Came from a bat.
But they're not sure if it came from the bat soup.
That's what they say.
Bat soup. They're not sure if it came from the bat. Well, that could be a hummingbird too. I don't know. But no, they don't know, Mike.
Like a hummingbird.
Sure. So what the journalists are saying. If you're not sure where it came from, and even the Chinese are not sure, don't make a problem where racist Americans, like they have been, verbally and maybe physically attacking Chinese Americans or Asian Americans because of this.
Right.
Because it happened in New York. An Asian couple were they spit. They were spit at. They were cursed out. There were somebody tried to strike them, I think.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I hate to say it, racist Americans, they're going to do it whether you give them some kind of reason to do it or not. But the other day, me and the wife, and also Wyatt, we decided to, you know what? We are going to spit in a lot of people's face and do something brave. We went to a Chinese buffet and it was fucking delicious.
Oh, you went to a Chinese buffet?
Yeah. In the midst of all this, we decided to be like, you know what? We're not going to buy into this fear and hysteria. We're going to go out. We're going to have a Chinese buffet meal and we're going to enjoy it. And I enjoyed it, and it was great.
Wear disposable latex gloves, the workers.
They didn't wear disposable gloves, but every so often they'd have a sanitizer rag, and they'd spray the counters down. They would like clean the spoons and stuff. I mean, the sanitizer you use, it's pretty potent stuff. It's like the sanitizer grade that we use in the deli when we have to clean and sanitize stuff. Yeah, it's going to get something clean.
See, when I worked in the seafood, we had a high pressure gun where we attached this big bucket of approved sanitizer to the high pressure gun, which used hot water at high pressure. And I've seen people who own one for their home. They might do the driveway, the garage, but yeah, we had it, and we called it a blitz gun, and it combined the hot water under high pressure with the sanitizer coming from the bucket into the hose, kind of like when the
pressure wash,
the sexual organ, where the seminal fluid comes from the prostate, and it joins. That's sort of what happened. Yeah, it's a pressure wash. So the sanitizer joined with the hot water under high pressure, but we can only use that sanitizer. They won't let us use, let's say, Brillo. Chlorine bleach is in Brillo pads, right? Like, bleach is going to wipe out everything. So just before inspection, we would Brillo the stainless steel parts of the fish department. Well, we were told after we got a good score, we got a great score at inspection, we were told we can't use that anymore. We have to use the approved sanitizer that they get delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
So,
My wife says hi, everyone.
greetings. And I'm happy you went to a buffet and had good food.
Gary, I have a question. How did you and your wife meet? What was the context, and
Speak up.
how did you and your wife meet?
How did me and my wife meet? Okay, well, so we used to live in Virginia. So we were both going to the same college, New River Community College, and she was in one of my classes. So one day we just, started talking because she dresses kind of like the way I do. So as we were talking, we just kind of hit it off, and so we just kind of hit it off, started talking, and things just, progressed, and then we started dating, and then my dad passed away, and then once my dad passed away, we got a place, and then we started living together, and then things just kept going better and better, and then we decided to tie the knot, and this year will be our 3-year anniversary.
Congratulations. So it was a normal interaction that took place. Nothing was forced, and it didn't feel like either of the two parties.
Well, I'm not going to say it was 100%. Well, there was one thing that was kind of an external factor. So when my dad passed away, he left me well over $400,000 in terms of inheritance money. Well, my mom wanted to dip her fingers in it, and I told her, no, this is money he left me personally. And she wanted it. I kept telling her, no, this is my money. You ain't getting it. So she kicked me out. And then my wife's mother, my now mother-in-law, gave us a place to stay for a little bit. And then we stayed there for about a month or so. And then we lived in Christiansburg, Virginia for about 6 months. And then in May 2017, we up and moved down here. We lived in a townhouse for about a year. And then in June 2018, we bought a house. So we got a 4-bedroom, 2 full bath house for $79,000. Property prices here in Tennessee are pretty tough to beat.
Man, California, a place, even if you lose somebody, you can't really do bereavement. So, after my mom died, and it's just, had to buy a place, and it cost half of things, and then it cost a tenth of things. So, and plus all the bars in Tennessee are open right now, and all the bars in California are closed.
Well, bars in Tennessee are a little different because to have an actual bar in Tennessee, believe it or not, you can actually still smoke in bars here in Tennessee, but here's the criteria. So that be a standalone bar. Admission has to at least be a business that only allows for admission for 21 years of age and older. Now, as long as you're 21 or older, you can go into this bar. Yeah, they sell food and they sell alcohol, but it's 21 and over only. And then also, you can still smoke in a bar. Now, if it's a restaurant where there's admission for individuals under the age of 21, it has a bar. You can still go sit at an actual bar, but just you can't smoke, and there's other criteria. And Tennessee does it a little weird, but yeah, that's how my wife and I met. And then that's one thing I was gonna do a little contributing to the dating scene. Now, coming from a married man, you would think this would be very biased and very one-sided, but I want to give you a very piece of helpful advice for both of you and for anyone else out there. All right, so if you want to understand why we have such a big problem with men and women equally, whether extremely materialistic, look at our material conditions. look at capitalism itself, the very system we live under. It's a very materialistic system. So capitalism is a socio-economic system. So yes, it's primarily economic, but the social relations also go around the economic basis. So if you have a materialistic society, don't be surprised if there are materialistic individuals. And also, capitalism has destroyed anything that really makes us human. In fact, it's destroyed all kinds of relationships. So basically, it's destroyed the relation between parents and children, husbands and wives,
Oh yeah, when a
relatives
kid says
and family members.
says to his parent, "Fuck you, mom," or "Fuck you, dad," and gets away with it.
Yeah, it's brought it down to that point now, and also
what
it's
would
just.
you do if your child said "fuck you" to you? How would you respond?
Well, here in the
at
South, we have absolutely no problem to where if you as a parent have to give your child the right in their fucking mouth, no one's going to say anything. Like literally no one. Like here in the South, when it comes to discipline, as long as it's within reason, we're not going to say anything. I mean, if you have to, mash your child's mouth in because they're back talking you, we ain't going to say shit. If you got to bust their ass, if you got to take the switch or the belt to them, no, we ain't going to say nothing because that's how we were raised, and we don't claim we were ever abused because of it because, we turned out to be decent people because of it. Because you know what my grandma did? Here's what my grandma did. So when I was a kid, and I still am, I can be a bit of a wise guy, and I can, try to be slick and pull fast ones. So my grandma knew exactly how every single one of us acted. And although I turned out to be the favorite of all the children, there was one thing about me she didn't like, was the fact I was slick and liked to pull fast ones. So here's what she did. She'd give you 3 strikes. 3 strikes and you were out. She gave you 1 verbal warning. Second time, she said, "You're on your last warning. If I got to tell you again, you going to get it." Third time,
Going to get it.
Yeah, but she would make you go outside to the tree and pick your own switch. But she already had the best switch picked out. Your job was to pick the second best switch. So you'd pick it off the tree. You'd hand it to her. She'd look at it. And she'd either say, "Nope, do it again." Or she'd look at it and be like, "Okay. All right, now go sit in the corner. You're in timeout."
What he said about capitalism ruining or destroying relationships is very accurate because the divorce rate in California is like close to 75%.
Higher than average.
And yeah, I'm sure it's because of money, lack of money, most likely. Lack of money and the materialistic attitudes towards the women that live near the big cities. I'm sure they're more materialistic. And
you go out to a bar in California. I mean, yeah, a lot of girls using IOIs, these IOIs that are really just rejections. An IOI is not an IOI at all. It's really just a rejection. And if anything, how do you end up getting ghosted? Because of IOIs. IOIs are tantamount, I promise you, getting ghosted. Whereas if she approaches you first, James Bond is not concerned with a girl flipping with her hair in the corner. He's already talking to a girl who's flipping her hair.
Exactly. I mean, if you want to have better women, you're going to have to create better material conditions. How are you going to do that? Get rid of capitalism.
Don't. As somebody said, don't wear a fancy watch. Don't wear a suit. Just go there, show up, only talk to women talking to you, and don't show up in these suits or these watches. As James said, California and New York are very fragile. Tennessee seems very resilient. Seems like a resilient fucking place.
Well, the GQ magazine for male model. They were even saying that a man that has a scruffy face is attractive to some women. A man that's not that doesn't have a close shave.
It works.
Huh?
It works.
Yeah, you know what's weird? There's a commercial late at night about a trimmer called Manscaping.
Oh, right. Yeah, the
It's
Manscaped
kind
trimmer,
of
the
gay.
lawnmower.
It's kind of gay. I mean, the guy's lays in hot sauce, hot and spicy,
Oh,
muy picante in Spanish. Potato chips.
These are really good. Have you ever had Frank's hot sauce before?
no, what's the Scoville scale?
Do what?
What's the Scoville heat units on the
Scoville heat units. Let's see. Does it say it on here?
What?
That I honestly do not know.
What
Well,
would you guess?
Yeah, we can't guess because it's probably cayenne.
yeah, cayenne pepper with vinegar. That's the base of most hot sauce. So let's see. Let's see.
50,000.
Scoville.
That's 50,000. Cayenne is 50,000.
Yeah, well,
Dang,
50,000. Let's see here.
not
that's pretty
habanero.
hot.
Cayenne pepper is considered 30 to 50,000. So it's well below the Carolina Reaper, which is 1.4 to 2.2 million. It's well below the Ghost Pepper, which is 855,000 to 1.041 million. It is hotter than a jalapeno, but it's about half as spicy as a habanero. So it's right in that little pleasure zone.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not too spicy, but not overly sweet like a bell pepper.
well, I've never ate just regular cayenne pepper by itself, so I don't honestly know what cayenne pepper tastes like. But I mean, for a good base for any kind of hot sauce, and one of my wife's personal favorites is she loves buffalo sauce, and she dips it in Hidden Valley Buttermilk Ranch. These,
Nice. Good choice.
they're very vinegary, but the cayenne pepper just kind of smacks you in the face. They're very good. They're very crispy, but they're not spicy. I mean, there's heat, but it's not gonna like make you go, oh, I need water type deal.
That's not a coronavirus kind of chip.
Nuh-uh. But they have these on sale right now because they've got this flavor. Another flavor they got out. It's called Crispy Taco. It's like a Crispy Taco Supreme, and I haven't opened them yet. I've just been snacking on these because, I mean, here in Tennessee, we've been having some really weird fucking weather. Like the other night, it was in the 40s and 50s. Today, it was in the 70s.
In the middle of March.
Which means we're going to have a very long, hot, humid, wet summer. And I'll tell you, the summers here in Tennessee, if you're not used to it, they'll kill you. Because if it hits like 95, 98 degrees with 100% humidity, you will step out and just be like, oh my God, that is so humid. And then you do like any amount of strenuous work, you just break out in sweat. You just turn into a sweatshop.
That's like Houston on the Gulf. They say that's extremely humid. The Gulf, Houston, Corpus Christi, Texas.
Mm-hmm. But our winters here, they're very cold and the humidity is very low. Like, don't be surprised if the humidity is like 20 or 30%. Yeah, that dry. But tonight, here's what I was able to do. We had some rain come in and the creek's up now. So tonight when we left, I want to say it was a nice, comfy, ambient 60 degrees with a nice rain shower. I rolled down my windows and just, let my car air out and just enjoy the ride home.
That's awesome.
So did you rate your beer, Michael Hilton?
It's a 99. Blind Pig is a 99. Russian River Brewing Company, if you ever get around to it.
The Blind Pig.
Awesome beer. Blind Pig.
Blind Pig.
Yeah, my friend Jesse, he's huge on this beer. He mentions it more than Pliny the Elder. He thinks, again, he deserves a little bit. I think it's a little bit better than Pliny the Elder. Pliny is good. It can be a little bit thin, though. This is a little bit thicker in mouthfeel than Pliny.
How do you
Pliny's still good.
how'd you like Sierra Nevada's 40 anniversary?
Still have those, mate. Still have those in the fridge.
That's the one with the cannabis in it, right?
That's the total cannabis. Not as much cannabis in this one, but still there.
But that was a lager, correct? Or was it an IPA?
That was an IPA. But here's what's going to happen. The next IPA revolution should not be fucking sugar. It should be cannabis, y'all. Don't know why we're sugarifying even beer now. No, it's liquid cannabis. It's meant to be liquid cannabis. Why do a lot of people like it? Liquid cannabis.
Yeah, but the yeast needs sugar to ferment. It's food for the yeast.
No, yeah, that's true on that. I'm talking about very fruit forward beers that have too much yeast and sugar in them.
You mean instead of a fruity craft beer or an IPA, it'll be a drier cannabis flavored IPA.
Yeah. I mean, what's so cool about this is it's only 6%, but it's 70 IBUs. Some beers, they'll be 7, 8, 9, 10%, but it's not necessarily that they're strong. They're really weak, actually. They have next to no hops. It's just no hops at all to the beer.
Really?
It just ruins it.
Oh, you don't have no bitterness or hop flavor at all?
No bitterness or hop flavor at all.
I like hops.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't get over how many different hops there are. There are multitudes of different varieties of hops.
You know what's a perfect movie for you guys right now in quarantine? It's Up in the Air with George Clooney. He lives a quarantined lifestyle. So for anybody who complains, not you guys necessarily, you guys don't seem like you're, a married man and somebody who's also, you, James, you seem like you have the ability to be by yourself. Sometimes it's very important.
Have the ability?
Really good movie about being alone.
It's reality.
Yeah, you can't always be around other people,
But I have Netflix, I have cable, and I have the internet, and I have my hobbies.
Have any ladies tried to come knock your door down?
No, I talk to female friends all the time. It's just that they're on lockdown. They're with their families. I don't have with my lifestyle. I don't have the experiences that those guys have in remember Forum magazine with Penthouse. Remember the Penthouse magazine? There was all these wild stories in Forum. Where the guy is a handyman and he's fixing something in his woman's house, and her daughter, leaves the bathroom open, and the daughter is like walking around in her underwear, and so he ends up doing the daughter and the mother, and I don't have that kind of luck.
Sounds like some kind of weird, interesting 1970s porn plots. But speaking of interesting,
guy with the big mustache, guy with the big freaking mustaches.
So speaking of interesting, so flavor combination time. So I did my quick review of the Frank's hot sauce Lay's chips. But I got some Lay's honey barbecue chips. So what happens? So what happens when you take a honey barbecue chip and pair it with a hot sauce flavored chip? Let's see.
Now the word Lay's, is that the family's last name? Lay's?
I have no idea, but oh my god.
Or is it what to eat when you're getting laid, or I don't know, what is the
I don't know, but oh my god. That was probably one of the best creations I have ever made. Holy shit, that was delicious.
That's a lot of Lay's you got.
Yeah, well, I mean, honey barbecue, hot sauce, put the two together. I mean, yeah, that's actually pretty good. Holy shit. Leaves a really weird aftertaste, though. But yeah, I was talking with James I think it was about a couple weeks ago when we were talking about just weird, interesting stuff. And just for shits and giggles, I decided to come up with a practical joke. So when people say, yeah, and I watch porn for the plot lines, I actually came up with a porno where you would literally only watch it just for the plot line. And it's a weird 1970s themed porno.
Yeah.
And
Joe Biden is in it, right?
well, no, that's Frumpalicious Fox. We'll get to that one here in a moment. So the weird 1970s porn plots. It stars Bushwhacker Bill, Marlboro Mike, Polyester Pam, and T-Top Thomas. So here's what they do. They just go running around in T-Top's Thomas, T-Top Camaro, and they just sit around, talk, smoke Marlboros. And when they try to have a threesome, they can't. Because if they try, Bushwhacker Bill has to come in, thwack all their bushes. That way, you know, by the time that's all done, they got to smoke some more cigarettes. And by the time when they go to have sex, they can't because they're itching from all the polyester. Well, spoiler alert, guess what happens to all of them? They fucking die because of lung cancer. The end.
Oh, man.
You know, I when I was a kid, I hated polyester. It was the most uncomfortable material ever. And that's, by the way, that's a perfect name for a girl. Polly, middle name Esther. I love it.
Oh, dare take me back to Sanford and Son. No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His relatives have really funny names.
There were two. Sometimes women will approach first, but it'll just, because the narrative hasn't really been set in the environment, it'll just sound like such complete bullshit. Two girls were trying to threesome me one night, but it's just I couldn't take it. I couldn't handle it. I think I didn't take them up on it because I had just seen just such a bad attitude the whole night. I knew that something just fell off. You know, so even a girl may talk to you first sometimes, and they may even bring that stuff up, and they have to bring it up first. But you know, the thing about porn is that it is just so unrealistic about what happens.
Well,
even when that stuff does happen,
yeah,
it may not feel right.
all that glitters is really not gold. You know, the funny thing is, girls talk dirty to their female friends all the time. They actually are big blabbermouths. They talk about their husbands and boyfriends in detail, you know. But if you mention it, if you mention the subject, you pervert, you this, you that, harassment. You know?
Yeah, they're just as bad for locker room talk as us men are.
Yeah, yeah. The porno movies, they have themes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And today, the themes happen to be different. They're not corny like they were in the 70s. They're like stepfather is seduced by stepdaughter because she's not a blood relation to him. So therefore, he's allowed to have sex with her and cheat on his wife with the stepdaughter. You know what I mean? Or stepmother seduces. The mother seduces stepson. That's another theme that I see. And then there's
yeah, like it's an excuse.
Stepbrother and stepsister have sex without the parents knowing it, because the stepsister, they always make the stepsister, in most cases, seduce the stepbrother. Sometimes the stepbrother takes the initiative, but the girl is always the big time slut in the movie, and the parents don't find out, and because the word step is involved, it's not incest, which it really isn't.
Perhaps maybe we shouldn't give West Virginians and Arkansanians these ideas because they just might practice them.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
Yeah, it sounds like these directors and these stars were probably from Arkansas or West Virginia.
Now, West Virginia, but they don't really say Virginia, right? That's Hollywood.
Yeah.
They're trying to get
I know they
Virginia
say
to join West
Hollywood
Virginia.
said Alabama. You know, like when Al Jolson saying, "Mammy, you come from Alabama." You know,
Uh-huh.
I think he was just trying to rhyme the two words. But like many Southern people say that they never heard anybody talk like Foghorn Leghorn. Yeah, nobody talks that way.
Well,
Foghorn Leghorn. I say
depends.
that's a joke, son.
I know
Depends.
you talk.
Yeah, it depends. Southerners have different accents. Mine does come out to a certain extent, but my parents spoke a lot of proper English, and they let a little bit of their country accent around me. So, yeah.
Yeah, but
The
Virginia's so close to DC.
Well, yes and no. Like Virginia has many different accents. Like Southwest Virginia, where I'm from, we have our own accent. Same thing with like Northeast Tennessee. Our accents are very similar, but Northeast Tennesseans put more emphasis on the vowels, whereas people from Southwest Virginia, they put more of a twang to it, so to speak. So when you kind of get those two melding together, it can kind of create a weird, interesting accent.
Now, where does Dolly Parton from? Her accent. What part of Tennessee?
Dolly Parton. That's a very good question. Let me go ahead and Google that.
Yeah, because she has a real strong accent.
Well, let's see here.
So did Anna Nicole Smith have a really heavy duty.
Let's see, Locust Ridge.
Who is Anna? Who is Anna?
She was a Playboy. She's dead now. Playboy Playmate of the Year.
Oh, she's hot.
Okay, so I've got it pulled up here. So it says it is called Locust Ridge, Tennessee. So looks like it is here in the Northeast where I'm from. So it looks like it's like southeast of Knoxville.
So she's an Appalachian girl, right?
Yes. So yeah, that would be Appalachians. That's in the Smoky Mountain range in particular. So let's see just how far Locust Ridge is from my home, or just how far it is from Kingsport. We put in a Kingsport zip code.
But Coxville. Is that Coxville with an X?
It's Knoxville. So let's see here.
Okay.
Yeah, I put in 10.
I had to.
Let's see here. It's doing it by zip code. So I had to put in one of Kingsport's zip codes. I don't know where you all are from, but ours start with 3. So let's see here. Yeah, Kingsport's 37660. That's 37876. It's showing 2 different ways I can go. One is an hour and 39 minutes, but 94.8 miles, but it's not the shortest route. The shortest route would be by 321, US 321 South. That's shorter, but it's an hour and 53 minutes. So I'm just trying to see here. Yeah, Interstate 81 to 40, and then take 40. This would be 40 east, like you're going to North Carolina, and then 411. Yeah, that'd probably be the best way to go, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, and I-40 runs through Tennessee. I-40 starts just before Knoxville, and it will take you all the way to California.
Oh wow, the I-41, yeah, that's a big.
I know Route 66 ends at the Santa Monica Pier. Route 60. Where does it begin? Like Chicago or something? I wonder where it begins.
My hometown.
You know, where you get your kicks on Route 66. Yeah, I wonder where it starts. I know Route 80, Mike Hilton. Interstate Route 80 goes from where I live, literally to San Francisco.
What's so New York? It goes
Yeah,
from New York
it-
to San Francisco.
It's called Route 80.
Route 80.
It's Interstate Route 80. It goes right into San Francisco, but it's called Route 80.
So if I want to avoid the hippies and join the pros, the professionals, for just 1 minute of my life, all I have to do is take Route 80.
East.
Nice.
And then
no, not west.
No, east, and then you'll end up at my exit.
Great. Awesome.
But you're
That's
talking about 3,000 miles.
Well, what do you think about ghosting and just women? I mean, I like this very type of woman who's honest and dare I say, maybe a little bit open. You know what I mean. And then also just like sarcastic, but in a funny way, to kind of make you feel good.
Well, I like somebody with a great sense of humor. A great sense of humor, very important. Yeah.
Confident. I don't like these women who, the second they say something, it's like a knife to your fucking like it's a fucking knife to your your chest. Every time they say something.
What the coaches tell you is, do not, and I repeat, do not date a feminist. Number one. Number two, try to avoid a single mother.
Oh, I've been with single mothers before. They're not terrible.
A feminist is probably worse. Yeah.
So some cougars have amazing bodies. That's for damn sure. Cougars have really amazing bodies, man.
Now remember what I was talking about last week about it was kind of related to ghosting, where they always say they take a survey and the women like men of mystery. They don't like men that reveal too much about themselves.
Well, you can't text or talk too much too early on, so you can't show too much too early.
Yeah, they don't want, like, in other words, if they know too much about you too soon, they feel there's no challenge. People.
Yeah, you're gonna fuck it up.
For some reason, people, even some men, like a challenge. Me, I always like a sure thing. Because why? It's less stress. To me, it's less stress. But there are people who really like the chase. They like the thrill of the chase. They like the challenge.
That is kind of childish,
Yeah, if a man reveals too much too soon, that it turns the woman off.
Yeah, but that's so childish.
Yeah,
that's
because
so childish, because if things go well, if things really go well, you could take somebody home the same night. I mean, most of my action has been the same night, or it was after a while, warming up. But there was never this chasing bullshit. They never make me do that.
If you have the perfect romantic chemistry, why not just get to know each other? Go with the flow. It might happen the first night, second night, third night. Why take months to get to know a female? Anyway, Mr. Owens has himself a high technology set of drums. I don't know what do they call them? Electronic digital drum?
Oh, they're called electronic drums, but you still play them with just regular old drumsticks. So, as you may or may not have known, it's tax time, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to take a shot at drums. So I bought an electronic drum set because there was a grand opening for a guitar center here in this part of Tennessee. The closest one was down in Knoxville. Well, now in the city over in Johnson City, one just opened a couple weeks ago, and they were having a huge grand opening sale, and they opened up on a Thursday, and we went on a Sunday, and the dudes, when we went in there, they were really cool. They were really chill, really laid back, and also very knowledgeable as well. So they had finally gotten some inventory back in because pretty much when people saw that it was open and they were having a huge sale, they ransacked the place. I mean, like, whole guitar walls were empty. Whole bass guitar walls were empty. Like the keyboards, the pianos, all that, they were all empty. So I was like, well, you're having an awesome deal, so let me go ahead and pick up a drum set. So the most important thing when playing drums is you got to find the drumsticks that work well for you. Well, here I've got some Super Jazz 5As, and they're made out of maple wood. So it's a much lighter wood, but it's still pretty condensed. So when you go to like play or to flick the drums, what have you, they have a great strike to them, and they have an excellent rebound effect. So a basic drumming tip. So you don't have to like really just beat on drums, like, you know, grab it like you're grabbing a baseball bat and just thwack them and all that. No, you can actually just kind of hold them a particular way and just play them, you know, like that. So most of drumming relies upon this thing called the rebound effect. So what you have to do is with the drumstick, if I can hold one correctly, is you got to find what's called a fulcrum point. So a fulcrum point is where you find on the stick where it's perfectly balanced. So like the further you push it along, you got to see exactly, you know, where it is at balance. So I balance them with one finger, and as you can tell, it's still leaning more one way. Oh, there we go. See, right here is the fulcrum. So you take your finger and you just wrap it around that particular point. So this is where the stick is perfectly balanced, because you need to know, because you have to learn what's called a rebound. Because when you strike a drum, it's pretty much just like a motion like this. And then if you want to go faster, you can rely more on the rebound. So listen to this. So you got to find the point where it bounces back the most. I know my desk is not made out of drums, but still, that's what you look for whenever you find the fulcrum. And it's all in the wrist. So, you know, you don't use your arms like this. It's all in the wrist. So you get a good upper body workout with the wrist, and with the kick drum, you can get a little lower body workout, and you can get some cardio in, especially if you're going to be playing faster, especially if you're going to be playing higher beats per minute, things like that. So there you go. If you ever pick up a drum set and you learn how to drum, there you go. First basic lesson.
Yeah. But that girl, that Asian girl, Amy, is really good. AMI on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, oh, unbelievable. But yeah, it's different. You know, it's electronic, the one you have. I love to hear it someday, you know, when you're ready. I know the last Sunday, Mike Hilton, Damien did the first State of the Union tarot card reading for the United States towards the end of the show, and it was quite interesting. And I have a feeling they will continue to be even more interesting. Yeah, really.
Nice.
It's
what's that show about?
oh, it's political. It starts off a progressive piranha. You know, we talk we're socialists, and we talk about the socialist movement and versus capitalism and the evils of capitalism, and then we go from there to different topics. Like, for instance, Damien has been giving some lectures on the Confederacy. I think he did part 2 last Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did part 2, and this one's gonna be part 3, because this one I want to talk about because it's a little bit of a doozy, but at the same time it has to be talked about. Was its economics, how it was very economically backward as compared to the Union part of the United States, as well as the rest of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, so that would be good. We got part 3 of the Confederacy, followed by the second State of the Union tarot card reading.
The second State of the Union.
Yeah, well, it's a whenever we have a show,
You guys ever see the show Jericho?
Chris Jericho, the wrestler, or the Jericho from the Bible?
It's a Bible reference, Jericho. It's about the end of the country. The country comes under attack, and just way of life is completely disrupted. That's one thing maybe nobody's talking about is the chance of a nuclear strike during the pandemic.
Well, I think the last card he drew might have been the 8 of Wands.
Yes, the 8 of Wands. Yes, the 8 of Wands indicates extreme emotional turmoil and a lot of inner desire turmoil as well.
Right, and the Ace of Cups was the second.
Right.
The Tower came up.
Oh, the Tower. Anytime the Tower comes up, nothing good usually follows it.
Yeah, well, just look at it.
Aren't you guys worried about a nuclear strike during a time like this?
Not really. I mean, if there was going to be a nuclear war, it would have already happened.
Oh, how's the Soviet Union doing with the coronavirus? We never hear about it. We never hear anything about it.
No, not really.
Yeah, that's because Vladimir Putin is smart. No one, he's not letting anybody in. Or out. He probably has a complete travel ban going on.
Yeah, but is he still monitoring his stockpile? It's a big question.
Oh, they got stockpile galore.
Okay, but are they monitoring it?
Monitoring? I'm sure they are. I mean, China has tremendous abilities technologically, and they have a space program that actually has been operating quite well.
So wonder how national defense and national security does during an outbreak. Is it still as strong, or has it gotten considerably weaker, opening the chance for large scale terrorism to occur?
Well, I think
because usually what happens in a disaster is it precedes another disaster.
I think Damien would know that, or maybe if you hang out with us Sunday, maybe the tarot cards will say something.
Yeah, I doubt it, but you honestly never know. Like, if there would have been a nuclear war, it would have already happened. Like the Cold War, that would have honestly been like the peak time for a actual nuclear war. Well, guess what? We're still around. There was no nuclear war. So I can honestly say right now that if there was an actual nuke used by the United States, or a nuke was used on the United States by another foreign country, if you thought there were radical terrorists out there now, that would really, really be the final nail in the coffin, no pun intended. And then also there would be extreme ramifications from the international community, regardless of who did it. Okay, so you know how the United States likes to impose sanctions on people? I guarantee you the first time a nuke was used, the United States would be sanctioned like hell. Regardless of whether it was a mini tactical nuke or whether it was some nuclear warhead that was much bigger than that, you better believe we would be sanctioned. And we would literally be bastardized by the international community if we did. And also, if there was another revolution or a second civil war broke out, and to try to deter any rebellion, they use nuclear warfare or chemical or biological warfare? No. There would be external intervention at that point. It'd be one thing to use weapons. Do what?
I guess some guys overseas also, our guys overseas would get executed. if say we, the movie Sum of All Fears. So if we even terrorists who were American, terrorists from America nuked somebody, a lot of our guys overseas working who are stationed, they would be executed by the government there as retaliation.
Probably. Well, I know definitely right now in Iraq, Americans are most definitely not welcome. Regardless of whether you really had anything to do with the war in Iraq, whether you were for it, against it, what have you, Americans, they don't want there whatsoever. Their avid disdain and distrust for us is at an all-time high. So,
Rejected.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
their parliament voted that they want the United States out. No more occupation, no more help, nothing.
right. But honestly, even though I
Yeah.
had nothing to do with the Iraq War, I never supported it. Why do I have to be punished for it? I mean, I have nothing against the people of Iraq, so why should they look at me and have a disdain and hatred for me when I had absolutely nothing to do with it?
It's the perception. It's the perception, though. You're American, so then therefore,
So we're infidels, is what you're saying. We're infidels.
Yeah.
How you shake
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's possible, but the main point I was going to is the United States needs to really, really be careful as to what they do now internationally, because although Iraq is not a world player by any means, they're not a real significant economic power, but I mean, Iraq has been through a lot throughout its history. And the fact that, they've now said, we want the U.S. out, that actually sends a very powerful message to the rest of the world, but also us, and where we are throughout the world. That's going to give other people ideas that, let's go ahead and kick Americans out of where we are. And the next place it's going to happen, probably South Korea. Because South Korea is not very pleased with us at this particular point because of our intervention and not wanting the two Koreas to unite. See, they want to paint the illusion that the two countries don't want to unite. They do want to unite, but the U.S. sticks its finger in any deal they try to make and says, not going to happen. Well, South Korea is really just, they're done with that. They're saying, you know what, enough. We're tired of living under the threat of nuclear war by the North. We've been a country separated by war for over 70 years. Enough is enough. It's now time for us to be one united country. Now, if we still remain two separate countries, although one united Korea, that's fine. But at least as long as we have a say-so over our country, because this is our land, then that's really what they want. And Moon Jae-in, the president who's now in power after the previous president who was ousted because of corruption, he's a dove. He's not a war hawk like other previous South Korean presidents have been. He's been very friendly with Kim Jong-un. I mean, they've had very peaceful, meaningful talks, and, they shake hands. In fact, hell, I think it was like back in 2018 when the two met on the DMZ and Kim Jong-un literally crossed the DMZ line into South Korea, and then Moon Jae-in crossed the DMZ into North Korea, and they both did photo ops to have their talks. So, I'm sorry, get with the times, people. The war they don't want. They want to end this. They want to be united.
Okay. We have Thomas Metal 75 might be joining us soon. Eric.
Hey.
Eric of Thomas Metal 75 and Oxblood Forge. He's having a snack right now. He might be joining us.
Yeah, for those of you tuning in, we are 2 hours in now. And if anything we say offends you, well, we're drinking beer. So you're sorry, but if you get offended by what we say, you're going to have to look to another YouTube channel.
It's amazing. The people who they call triggered snowflakes are the ones who get the most triggered themselves. Karen.
Yeah, no, believe me.
True.
Eric Fraunfelter knows politics. He's a smart cookie, and he knows both sides of the fence.
Maybe this is the best time to discuss politics.
What should you drink? Hold on, Thomas Meadow 75. What should you drink? You're the one with the most exotic collection of craft beer known to man. You could drink whatever you get your fist around.
Craft beer ways.
Yeah, well, he has so many fantastic New England craft beers and IPAs and stouts and porters. It goes on and on. Mostly IPAs, I think he brings, but yeah, he has wonderful exotic craft beers. So I'm sure whatever he decides to crack open will be excellent. Unless he fools me and he cracks open a Budweiser. Except that, was it you that showed me the vintage Budweiser that they made way back in the day, like an anniversary version? No, not that one. The other one, the one that had like a dark label. You told me it was.
Oh, they're doing their own craft beer series. So right now they're doing the Jim Beam Copper Lager, and then they're doing the
something I said.
I don't know, but they're doing the Jim Beam Copper Lager, and they're doing the Budweiser Black Lager. Now they've released the I think this is the new craft version they come out with, the Budweiser Golden Nitro, I believe is what this one's called. So yeah, regular Budweiser, yeah, they've gone back to this new vintage label. Like I want to say this looks, I've got like several Budweiser like 10 signs on my wall over here. And looks like from the one that I can match for this one, it looks like it's some kind of like 60s, 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, this throwback label. It looks like something from like the 60s or 70s, because I've got several Budweiser 10 signs, and I was trying to match it to like some of the retro ones I've got, and it looks like it's like from the late 60s, maybe early mid 70s, but I love this new throwback design.
Oh, like the beach, like when they used to say Beechwood aged Budweiser with the Clydesdales.
Now, let me see. Does it say it on there?
Yeah, the original song. With the Clydesdales. Budweiser, king of beers. Yeah, and then they mentioned Beechwood aged. That was when I was a teenager, the first Budweiser commercials. When you say Bud, some jingle that they had going.
Yeah, when you were saying Beechwood, yeah, it still has this. This is the famous Budweiser beer we know of, no brand produced by any other brewer, which costs so much to brew and age. Our exclusive Beechwood aging produces a taste, a smoothness, and drinkability like you will not find in any other beer at any other price. Of course, it said Budweiser, king of beers, brewed by our original process from the choicest hops, rice, and best barley malt, brewed and canned in the USA Anheuser-Busch Incorporated. And of course,
that's an American thing, adding rice, right? That's not from the original Budweiser Czechoslovakia formula. Like that. That's not what Europeans would do.
Actually, the use of adjuncts actually goes back to European beers. I don't have any like really old Budweiser labels, but it came out in 1876. But until I think it was 1907, the beer labels were in German. Then in 1908, they switched them over to English. But it has always had the same ingredients: water, barley malt, rice, yeast, and hops, all the way back to the original recipe. So there's I forget the particular term it's called, but at that time, I believe where it came from in that part of the Czech Republic. It was like part of Bavaria or something like that, and it became Germany, or it's some kind of weird history like that. I don't know all the details, but some European beers use corn, some use rice, some don't use either, some use both. So yeah, it just really all just depends.
We have Thomas Metal 75, the founder of a Wild Card Wednesday and Massachusetts Beer Review, and the drummer for Oxford Forge, independent and sometimes cover, even though they tolerate cover, but they are a fine what the fuck the heavy metal band. So anyway,
pick your heavy metal. We probably are that, minus drop L tuning 9-string guitars. Yeah. So when I was just chatting with you all, I said I might decide to mix it up. So that's exactly what I did.
Ooh,
mix.
That looks refreshing.
This is, I forget the brand. It's Simply Light Lemonade. And what do you put into Simply Light Lemonade? It's vodka.
Oh, vodka.
It's vodka. And what vodka do you choose? Bottled and produced in Boston, I guess. It's called Granger Deluxe. I think that's the handle of that. I didn't buy that at my house, but the handle of that, the 1.75 milliliter, must have been probably somewhere between $14 and $15 for it. And it's USDA certified organic in its ingredients, and they distill it 7 times.
7 times?
That means anything.
And the distillery is in Boston? Oh, wow.
They said distilled in or bottled and produced in Boston.
Is it made from wheat and rye, or just rye, or?
I think it's wheat and I can go look up some information. I thought it was wheat and rye. It wasn't the potato stuff. There's a good brand the name escapes me. There's a good brand in the state of Maine that does really good potato vodka, but yeah, I think this is just the rye and the wheat. There's Simply Light Lemonade with some vodka.
Yeah, the Stolichnaya I brought Thursday was wheat and rye. That was a blend of wheat and rye.
Oh, you pretty much get, I think this is probably closer to 2 ounces, maybe 1.5 ounces of the vodka. I mean, you're only getting the original scent of lemonade. It's not pink. That would be good too.
Yeah, I know hard liquor is not your foremost reviewing preference.
Not really on reviewing. I kind of lose how to talk that department. But yeah, I'm not getting. I know I put close to 2 ounces, maybe 1.5 ounces of vodka, and I stirred it, and it tastes like lemonade. Danger, Will Robinson. I believe it's just the standard. Granger is a standard 40 proof or 80 proof, so 40%. But yeah, I made one a little earlier, a couple hours ago, when the weather was still. It is kind of still nice. When the weather was really nice and the sun was out, I made one of these bad boys. I put a little bit too much, probably 1.25 ounces or 2 ounces and a quarter, and I tasted a little bit more of the bite of the vodka. But at this point, there's no vodka even at close to 2 ounces in flavor. It just tastes like straight lemonade. Watch out, people. Watch out.
Sneak up on you like sangria. Yeah, Damien was showing us the science of choosing the proper drumstick. He got a set of electronic drums.
Yep.
And he's practicing, and those are maple drumsticks, right?
Yep, these are maple.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's why I chose maple, and these are 5As. So the 7As were too light, the regular 5As were a bit too heavy. So I was like, let's just go with maybe a lighter wood, and these are perfect. These are Sugar Maple Super Jazz, but I forgot what brand these were. I think these are Supermark or Supermark, something like that.
Are they
really nice drumsticks? I love them. Do what?
Do they say Pro Mark somewhere?
I don't.
They don't say
What-
anything. They don't have it written on the. Oh, do they say like Supernova or something like that?
They say Super Jazz.
Okay, they don't have any naming of an actual brand that makes it.
Well, let's see. You know a bit more than I do, so
Yeah,
can you tell anything about
yeah. So that's the company over there. That's called the company Vater. Yeah, Vater, Vater. They're out of
Okay.
Holbrook, Massachusetts, and I actually like. I'm again. James said it. I'm a drummer myself. I like to use their 5B sticks.
Well, I found the fulcrum on these. Look at these. These are where the fulcrum point is on these. Like pretty much right in the center, just like
Yeah.
a little bit
Alright.
off center, like down here, and they're in the same spot on both of them. So, yeah. So I've kind of developed my technique. I do it kind of just like this, and then just all in the wrist.
That doesn't sound too far off the beaten path there. Yeah, pretty good.
And then here's how I was able to find the fulcrum. And I know this, to find the fulcrum on any sticks, I know not every stick is the same. Basically, you find where it's balanced and see just how it rebounds off the particular drum you're hitting. And that seems to be exactly where it is on these. So,
Kind of, yeah, that's kind of right.
okay, well, how is it kind of wrong then?
I think it's a little bit more. I mean, I think it's a little bit more. I'm trying to describe it. I mean, that's just that's a terminology and a half. I'm trying to remember this. So, yeah, it definitely involves where the point where you're. I could probably grab one, but I'm not going to. The point where you grab a drumstick, you want to use. Yeah, you have almost like 3 different fingers, right? You have these. You know what I mean, James.
Index.
You have these 2 fingers that one up the stink and one up the pink. And then you have your thumb, and then the other 2 fingers, your ring finger and your pinky, wrap around the stick. So you hold it with pretty much these 1, 2, 3 fingers, and then everything else supports it. And you want to, in the fulcrum that you're talking about, is you want to find the balance point in the middle of it, where it's sitting in the hand when you do that. So not only is it balancing, but you're still using these other 3 fingers, the middle, the pinky, and the middle, the ring
So
finger,
like
and the pinky
this?
for rebounds and picking up the stick too.
So like this? Okay,
So
so you
you-
said like this. Okay, so I get
might
that.
have a stick somewhere over here. I might have one somewhere.
Yay, I'm getting taught professionally. Yay!
Pick up any pointers. Where they come from.
I like professional learning.
Well, you know, the good thing about learning the right way is you only have to see it.
I have timpani mallets, but they're the same kind of deal as a drumstick, so I can show you it that way. So actually really what I do is you take a drum stick. If anybody's curious, there's the mallet portion, but it's a drum stick. Woo, at the end of the day, you have 3 different sections: the butt end, the middle, and sort of the shaft, the middle, and then the butt end. Like probably halfway up the middle end is where I'll take a thumb and a index finger. And then I wrap all the other fingers right around that. And I want to make sure where I do that, I'm matching that, if you can see it, that knuckle to line up with my thumb. And then while you're playing, so if you didn't even wrap it, there's where your balance kind of a point is, where you can kind of lob it around and do your thing. So you can do it on the exact same similar portion of the drumstick on the other one. And you use all the other fingers here, the middle, the index, and the pinky, to catch the stick. To catch that stick and to help and to reinforce the rebound. But what you really want it to do is when you hit onto that surface, you want that natural kind of a rebound. You're not trying to force any of that. It comes down to when you're going really fast and there's a lot of speed involved and there's not a lot of distance coming up off of the surface. Then you get to use your fingers here, these 3 fingers, and they really get to hold the stick and push it back down and help in that little amount of distance, within that little short amount of distance for rebound. And yes, wrist. You want to use a lot of wrist. You can use arm for power if you want, but yeah, you're better off using less motion if possible. Wrists. There you go.
Okay. So am I holding it right? Because I found the fulcrum. All right. So I've got that. So am I at least right in that?
Yep.
All right. So that basically just kind of wrap the others like
Yeah,
that.
just wrap it around. The other thing you want to keep, the other thing to keep note of is the gap between your thumb and that index finger. You don't want a huge gap in between, because you don't have a really solid grip around that stick where it's going to be secure in your hand.
So is that better? Was I holding it too loose?
You want less distance. So I guess what I was saying was you want less distance between the thumb and the index finger once you wrap it.
Okay, so like
So
that.
when you hold it, so when you finally wrap that, when you finally do your wrap with all the other fingers, you hold that stick and you wrap it around. You want to look and see if there's a gap in between that thumb and that index finger. You want as least as amount as possible, because you're not going to really have a really great grip and control around that stick if there's a big gap. Almost touching would be ideal. You don't want it to really touch, but almost touching where the thumb is still parallel to the rest of the stick, and then there's still the other fingers that can hold on to it. And there's enough movement, again, when you're using the stick, there's enough movement where the stick can move pretty freely.
Okay, so don't hold it too tight, but don't hold it too
Yep.
loose. So you want to have some movement.
Make sure you still are in control of that stick. Where what you do with the stick, it's not going to cause it to fall and drop and all those great things that happen to me on a regular basis.
Yeah, okay, I think I got it. Okay, I think I get your premises. So yeah, I've got it wrapped around.
So just make sure that there's not a giant gap between the thumb and your index finger when you so you took it like that, and then I turn it 90 degrees, and then I'm looking at it right here. So here are those 3 fingers. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this here, this gap right there in between those 2 fingers. I'm looking at it at a 90-degree angle, making sure there's not a giant gap. But I can still freely, as you can see, I can still freely move it, but I don't want that, again, I don't want a gap. So that's about as much of a gap as I try to give it. That's all.
Okay, so yeah, if you can make me full screen, so yeah, I can make sure I got it right. So basically, like this. Kind of.
Turn your wrist 90 degrees. Turn that wrist 90 degrees.
Okay.
And take a look at the gap in between those fingers. Does it, in between that thumb and that index, does it look like it's pretty good? It's not you still have control of it. It doesn't feel too loose where you feel like you do something, it's gonna want to fall out in your hands.
No. I still have pretty good
That's
grip
probably
on
pretty
it.
good. Yeah, that's probably okay.
All right, now my fingers
I
wrapped
would
around the
go
way
with-
they're supposed to be.
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
I would say so. Usually with these sticks, a good reference point is where the logo stops, is where you can start the wrap on the fingers. So mine are kind of aging a little bit, but you can see right where the logoing ends is where I'll traditionally want to start to wrap my fingers. It's a good starting point to where to start to hold onto the stick.
Okay, well, I have a video to show you. It's one of my private videos back from when I was a teenager. 100% a song on Rock Band on drums, and when
Sure,
you see
Rock
this,
Band is hard on drums, to be completely honest.
well, it's a pretty easy song, but when you see my technique, you're going to be like, oh dear God, you have no technique whatsoever. I mean, I was 14 years old and I didn't know how to really drum, so forgive me, I'm sorry.
There's your drum stick holding lesson for the day, James Madonna. This is not a drumstick holding technique.
No, that's
No, it's a little more intricate than that.
It is a drumstick holding lesson for the universe, because everybody who watches it will learn.
Or you put it in between your thumb and your ring finger or your middle finger, and then you wrap only on the left stick. Do that technique I showed you on the other stick, and there's how you play traditionally. Drums traditionally were they sat on the drummer sideways this way. When you put a strap onto the drum and you wore the drum, they were put on this way. Playing it this way that I was just describing is never going to work this way. See how much my wrist is, or my elbows angled up that way?
Yeah.
It will work for this right hand. My left hand here, you cannot play that way. So figure out a way to cock that wrist a little bit. Okay, now I can play it this way and that way if the drum is slung like in this angle. Now I can play it this way without this ridiculous angle and going, how am I supposed to play that? So out of necessity, there became a couple of different grips for drumsticks.
Are you talking about like the marching band drums
Yep.
that you're walking with strapped?
Yeah.
That-
Yes. And
What?
a lot of people still use that grip and technique for drumming. A lot of jazz drummers do. A lot of jazz drummers view that to be the only way to grip your sticks. To each their own. There's not a right way or wrong way to do it.
Yes. Well, thank God everything is recorded so people can learn for as long as we have the internet. So
As long as we have the internet, Michael Hilton will be able to shelter in place with people. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Michael Hilton.
Oh yeah, by the way, about the shelter in place is that pretty much at this point, school has pretty much at this point with the shelter in place, school has been canceled.
School has been canceled. Now show Eric the IPA that you brought for the second round. The first one was just a coffee flavored cheapo beer. This
That
one
was a quality lager. That was a fine lager, but this is an even finer IPA.
Look at this one, Blind Pig.
James knows that I'm giving him shit, but here's a Blind Pig. Cool.
Ooh,
Check that
okay. I've had that beer once in my life at Russian River. Yeah.
Isn't it good, man? I mean, it's only 6%, so you really could drink it all day. But then it has a bitterness to really kick in. It has that crazy bitterness that you don't have to get up to 7, 8, 9%, and you still might not have any bitterness because it still has too much sugar. Incredible.
Russian River. That's the go out and get it now brewery in this guy's neck of the woods. Okay, yeah. They're the Trilliums and the tree houses before Trillium and Treehouse existed. Oh, yeah.
It's kind of, well, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like the Trillium and the Treehouse. It's kind of that high-profile brewery.
That brewery was cool when I went there 2 years ago. It was awesome.
Russian River's freaking awesome. It's fantastic. It's a great brewery.
I actually
So
really
cute.
like their
So-
barrel-aged sour beers. But, Blind Pig, I digress. Go ahead.
So, no, you don't. Maybe you interrupt a little, but your point was great. That was still a great point, Eric.
Barrel-aged sour.
Sorry, man,
You got me intrigued.
giving you guys shit. I like that vodka though.
Pretty
not
good.
like
It doesn't even
vodka.
taste like vodka. Woo.
But it's a lot like Jack Daniels thing.
Ow, I hit myself in the nose. Barrel-aged sour. Tell us what
So
this
they were doing the. Oh, I'm trying to remember the names of these beers. They had one that was called Consecration. They're barrel aging.
Yep.
In different wine barrels for their sour beers. Not what you would think of. I think they do have some, but not what you're thinking of when it comes to different bourbons or whiskeys. They were doing wine barrel aged versions. So whatever the barrels they were using to age those wines, they're introducing their sour beer into it. Now they're really well known, and probably that beer you're drinking, if I remember, which I really don't. I know I had that beer 2 years ago when I went out there. Too bad we didn't know each other 2 years ago, but I digress. They're really known for those hoppy beers. They're known for that Pliny the Elder and the Pliny the Younger, but I tried those beers. I tried the Pliny, whichever one's not the hard one to find, the Pliny, I think it was the Younger. The Elders the Elder's the one they make pretty much year round, and the Younger's the one that goes out of sale. I mean, those are good beers, but I thought that the sour beers are like the beers. For me, from Russian River.
Yeah, Russian River. Yeah, any beer that's sour and that has been aged is freaking fantastic. Gary, what do you think about a lot of these kind of fringy craft beers?
I mean, if that's what restores craft to craft beer, then so be it. I mean, I'll try at least, a different style of craft beer, at least once, just to formulate my own opinion. It's just the one I'm probably not going to drink is a wheat beer. I would rather have an IPA or anything else over a wheat beer. Now, IPAs are still not my thing. I think they're more just like dime a dozen anymore, but there still are some out there that are unique and different in their own way. Like the Dogfish Head 75-minute IPA. I fucking loved that IPA. It was unique. It was different.
That's a good one.
Yeah, just nowadays anymore. I mean, yeah, I buy them, I try them, I review them, I give my own opinion. But I mean, if it's your typical run-of-the-mill IPA and I review it, and that's just really how it strikes me. Really, the most, the bare minimum I'm going to give it is C plus B minus. I mean, just because it's average doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just, anymore, it's just, I think it's just kind of run its course. Unless something really new, groundbreaking, or revolutionary comes to the IPA style, really what's out there is pretty much been done so far.
Now, when do you get your first home brewing kit?
Well, if all else goes according to plan, which I hope it does, then that's going to be birthday. So probably mid to late May. My birthday's May 18th.
Okay.
So
Not far.
Yeah, not too far. I'm still doing some research. I'm still seeing exactly, what's the best bang for buck out there to see, what has everything that you need to where, it's a one kit you buy to where, you can brew it in your small batches the way you like it. And you don't have to keep, running down all these different parts for this, for that, where it's just, boom, all right there.
And you want to start off just doing the basic lager, a pilsner, a stout, and a porter. Just nothing.
Yeah, the basics first.
Yeah, the lager probably would be the first. This reminds me of a Three Stooges episode where they attempted to make their own beer in a bathtub.
Nope. We're not doing none of that. No bathtub beer.
Quite funny, and they were putting Hey, Mo.
Yeah,
Yeast
I don't have any. I don't have any confidence in anybody. Hate to say, that wants to go and try brewing beer for the first time. That says, "Let me try a lager." That is that, from what I understand, is some difficult stuff to brew. I mean, ale the ale yeast will turn over beer so much faster. You gotta brew lagers at a lower temperature, and plus you have to remember, even with the simplest of beers, in flavor, they achieve what they do because of, what am I trying to say? Because they don't hide flaws very well. You have to be very meticulous with what you do with those kind of beers. They're going to show any kind of flaws and imperfections immediately. So if you have the time to, if you can take that time to brew that lager, and you're fairly confident that you're not going to screw this up the first time you ever brew a beer, which we all will screw some process up in brewing a beer, lagers would not be my first choice.
Well, I mean,
Even though you think of
right.
that as what you want to drink, it may be more difficult to brew the lager over the ale.
Well, 2 words, challenge accepted. And the lager, I thought about doing that one first, but that might be like the last basic one that I do because I like all styles of beer minus wheat beer. I'm probably not going to make a wheat beer, but I'll have a lager, an ale, a porter, a stout, IPA, a malt liquor, what have you. I'll have a little bit of everything, but just no wheat beers. So I just don't know exactly what I'm going to do for my 100% first brew. That's why, like I said, I want a small brewing kit to where I can make, 1 to 5 gallons. So if I do fuck it up, I don't have to, dump all of it down the drain. To at least, if I could at least make something tolerable, then I would at least be satisfactory with that.
Yeah, I would figure some kind of a stout or a red ale that you can brew with an not adjuncts, that's what I'm saying, with a extract. So you can really do 3 things, and I got to start doing this. I got this whole brewing equipment from my grandfather I've done jack squat with. You could talk to people like Thrash Metal. You could talk to another guy called Drunken One that actually do some home brewing, and they could explain a little bit more of this. Thrash Metal could explain a lot about this, but there's 3 kind of beers, or 3 kind of methods to brewing beer. You can use extracts. You can use both extract and grain and all malts in your beer, a combination of the 2. Or the third one, which is the most difficult of the brewing techniques, would be to brew with all just 100% pure malt. It's all malt. That's the hardest way to do it. So when you get just like an extract, you're getting it's already, the partitions are already done out for you, and you're getting a pretty much a basic syrup that involves most of your grains you're going to use for that. So you don't have to have any of that steeping time. You don't have to do any of this preparation in the brewing process with your grains. And then you work your way up to that all malt, and then you'll learn how to prepare your grains during the brewing process, within the brewing process, to use them in your beer. It's baby steps. What we want to do and what we can are 2 different things.
Well, we're definitely learning a lot here. What you got there, Mike Hilton?
Got Gen 1 unfiltered IPA by Firestone Walker Brewing Company. It is Leo versus Ursus. Have been having these as a collection. I kept them out in my. You know how some people keep liquor out on their foyer. You know how some people do that. Well, I'll do that with a really nice IPA or a double IPA from time to time. And this is the Leo versus Ursus. Leo versus Ursus. Eric may have had this beer before.
Yeah, they got a whole line of beers in that
Yeah,
that,
show the can. Show the can close to the Cameroon. There we
60
go.
Fuck. 60 IBUs, guys. Sorry about that. I have a bit of a flu. Anyway, let's see how the can goes. What's that?
I'm trying to remember this properly. It's an experimental IPA variety that they're not brewing the same beer. They're not really brewing the same beer twice or more than once in that Leo versus Ursus. So when they're done brewing that beer and they're done selling it, that's the one you're going to get, and they're going to keep putting out different varieties within that series. But you only get this one once that Michael's drinking.
Yep. They are trying to do different strains. I saw that even on Google. So they're
again. Think the word experimental.
Experimental, yeah. It's an experimental beer. It's just the thing with these old beers that have been around for a while in the place. Don't really like getting rid of old beer, but okay. My Stone IPA that I tried to drink, 22-ounce bottle. The rest of it became a bit of a barley wine, but it really did not taste good. It really did not taste good. So I'm trying to be as slow as possible here. The problem with beer after a while, and this is really what pissed me off about beer, is you can't keep it around too long. It'll change. If you don't have a working bottle cap, the bottle gets exposed, and it's just not the same the way it was. 4 or 5 finger Whitehead in this nice ass Samuel Smith glass.
That looks good to me.
Looks very good.
Thanks, guys. Not really hazy. A lot of people say slightly hazy or partial haze. Nah, it's not a nor'easter beer, so it just doesn't have any haze. It's a West Coaster, plain and simple. Aroma.
Yeah.
Odie, really uber fucking Odie.
That sounds good.
Oh yeah. But at 8, I think I started to slur my words, which is a good sign. At 7.6%, with 60 IBUs, it's almost like a pale ale, actually.
Sounds like a New England beer already.
Very pleasing to the eyeball, my friend. Very pleasing to the eye. I'm sure. How was the hops?
The beer to beer review, kind of like beer to beer. Beer to review. The hops on it, it does. Eric's right. No, Eric's right that it does look a lot like a Bernie Sanders kind of beer.
Bernie Sanders beer from Vermont. Yes. Here's what I prepared to do.
Like a beer that could come from Vermont. It smells like it too. It smells like it too. And I'm very grateful for Tulsi Gabbard dropping out of the race, even though she did not endorse. She strangely endorsed Joe Biden.
No, she's
giving Joe Biden a lot of hate.
She's a sellout to the military-industrial complex, I think.
Yeah, what the fuck is that all about? She was supposed to be.
What does it smell like? This heady topper, or this heady topper, or this heady topper?
Oh, look at that guy's face! What?
Heady topper beer. Oh yeah.
Topper.
Yep.
Michael Hilton tried this beer. Yeah. Some strange reasoning he got this beer.
Now is Metal Thrasher the nice man from Colorado?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's very smart. Yeah, he's cool. And now who's the guy from Arkansas that brews his own beer sometime with the long beard? He sits outside in the dark.
He sits outside in the dark from Arkansas.
Yeah, he's heavy set with a long beard, like a ZZ Top.
Oh, I know who are you talking about? This? Are you talking about a guy named Shane Fudge? Maybe
that's it, Fudge.
He does not brew. I don't know that he brews beer, but he knows a great deal about the beers.
Yeah, that's him, Shane Fudge. But Metal Thrasher is the go-to man for home brewing tips.
Yes, sir. That's right. But we gotta find out how this great beer is tasting there, Michael Hilton.
Oh, yeah, Michael Hilton.
Are those empty cans? Are those empty cans, Eric?
Woo.
Are those cans empty?
Very light beer, though.
Yes,
Are those
that's what it
empty
looks like.
cans, Eric? Are those empty cans? Are those beers empty?
Oh, those are already. These are empty cans, my man.
That's why I said they were very
man.
light.
Boo.
It's kind of new. It's kind of a New England beer. In some ways, kind of weird. I think I said this during the review. Acting like a West Coast, but feels a little
Well,
like
at least
East
you're
Coast.
from the West Coast. You're not going to call us a bunch of Yankee commies or anything like that.
Yeah, but y'all dealing with some of that in New York too.
Bat soup. Yankee commies.
To the bats. That's pretty good. It's a little confusing of a beer, but it's man, but they're using citron.
Or the Germans say Die Fledermaus. Die Fledermaus is back in German.
Bots are great. They're smart. They're pretty smart. It's great. But
Yes, they have the best scientists, I think. They always did.
I had no idea though. This beer has citra hop, and yeah, not always, but to me that's actually ruining the beer. I'm putting that beer back for a while.
No, I was admiring the gyrations of Thomas Metal 75.
I will say hello to Michael Hilton. Let's go.
Oh,
We need to know the rating.
You had a poltergeist that you were conversing with. So
yeah, it's just this beer is kind of I don't know. It's confusing. You don't really put citra hop in a West Coast IPA. It's more, and then it makes it really fucking hazy. It's oaty, which is nice, but it's not quite hoppy enough. A second look. Real Versus by Firestone Walker needs work. Change up the hops. Don't use any fucking C hops. Maybe just use more of the mosaic to bring out more of the hops. Maybe some mosaic, maybe some crystal hop. That starts with C, but that's actually not a C hop.
Let's go to the hot old baby.
This doesn't have. Some of these beers do this, man. It's just they can be a little bitter, even, but too much sugar, dude. It feels like it has too much sugar in it.
Did you know my brother-in-law's farmhouse in Oneonta, New York, upstate New York? He's right next door to a hop farm, and the guy provides hops to many microbreweries in New York State. Yeah,
man.
Cool. Grows hop.
Wonder if you ate a hop. What
would happen?
How much of weed would it feel like?
I wonder what the nutritional value of a raw hop is.
That'd be a dank ass IPA right there.
It'll be bitter. It'll probably be.
That would taste like Damien
I
Owen's
volunteer.
wall over there.
Yeah.
Sorry, what? What'd you say?
If you
What'd you say
cross
about
the
my wall?
hop with the weed, says our good buddy Michael Hilton, what would that be like?
Hop.
I said it would be like your wall over there.
What about my wall?
It would be as dank and trippy as your wall.
Trippy?
Well, I mean, I got the tie-dye curtains. I got the GTA 5 poster. I got a lamp over there. I got a regular white wall, a Chester drawer. I mean, that's not too trippy.
They got a new replacement for a lava lamp. It's like big jellyfish, like just swimming around.
I had a lava lamp as a child, and you know what? I thought it was one of the coolest damn things I ever had.
I liked it.
So did everybody in the 70s.
You know what the best one was? The black light with the white blobs.
That means you did something on that bed your parents aren't proud of.
Yeah, they look like.
Well, I didn't have a water bed, if that's what you're insinuating.
Like that.
Look like Blondie Jeremy's load or something.
Ron DeTirio? What?
Ron DeTirio's lowered in the lava well.
If you're watching this
James,
video
I like-
until this
I
point in
like how
time,
you have
Ron,
this
you're a
signature
patron saint.
Well, he's very devout, and when I do that Good Friday show with him, I'm gonna have a very, very different background. It's gonna be nothing like this.
And approach mentally.
Feeling it's like Bela Lugosi.
Oh boy.
Holy shit, we've been doing this almost 3 hours now.
Yeah, maybe we ought
3-hour tour.
to wrap it
I
up.
can't say I'm grabbing another beer, but what's in the beer fridge? Not much.
Let's see
Trogs
what we got.
Perpetual IPA, a Pabst Blue Ribbon hard coffee,
I'll pass on that one.
meat and half and half. Meat and potatoes from Lord Hobo Dinner Stout.
Ooh.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Oh shit.
Yeah, I'll take a
shit.
Keystone Ice.
You would take it meat and
Not a
potatoes?
huge fan.
No, I'd take both, but I would probably have the Keystone Ice get a buzz going, and then probably have some
Well,
craft
look
beer.
at that. Audacity Blonde Ale. What is it called? Ooh, look at that. Grippa, Cisco.
Grippa.
The Cisco brewer was a friend of mine.
That can't be all the. What else we got? There you go. Trogs Nugget Nectar.
Maybe.
Wow.
Is that all for the beer? I got
He's
one
got-
can of
Got a cornucopia.
Bell Haven Scottish Ale.
Ooh, that looks
Ooh, a Scottish. Oh, yeah, I'd probably take a Scottish ale.
I might need to go to the liquor store and try to stock up, but I don't know how crazy. I haven't been to a liquor store recently. I don't know how crazy that's going to be.
Do you get your beer at a grocery store or what?
Apocalyptic time period we live in.
No, we don't have. We're not that lucky over here. Grocery
Ooh.
liquor departments and grocery stores.
Boo.
Mhm. It's got it.
That Scottish ale's pretty good. Bell Haven.
Stout. That's got to be a heavy duty stout. That meat and potato stout.
Not really. It's only 5.2%. It's one of those nitrogen cans.
Oh, look at the pretty can that Michael Hilton has.
Oh, is he drinking some nitrogen Budweiser knockoff nonsense?
Here's what's gonna happen. This
like
is gonna be a real beer. This is a real beer. Propagator Series Matuka. And that is by Forrester Walker. Limited release. Single hop hazy IPA. So this is really, if it has citra hop, then I wouldn't mind. I really fucking mind adding citra hop when it just really doesn't belong to the beer. Keep cold, drink fresh with 5.6% ABV. Go to search from Paso Robles, California. I'm just going to search for a second propagator. And they're also doing, Eric, they're also doing variations of this one too. They have a propagator Gen 1. And then they have the propagator Matuka. And let me just say about the women for a second. You know, if you guys are wondering how to create just immense physical, emotional attraction in a woman,
You have a
all you really
12-inch
need to do,
penis.
I think.
Yeah.
What's that?
12-inch penis?
No, actually, no. They don't care about that. What they react to is a guy who just lets them take the lead. Every time I've done that, every time I've done that, I guarantee you.
Wait a minute. They like a guy that takes the lead or a guy that lets them take the lead?
They like a guy taking the lead in certain contexts. When it comes to the initial
Alpha,
approach, the initial approach, even if you went up first, like say in a different setting than a bar, it's just a damnest thing. You show up at a bar, you just show up, you let her take the lead, you let her do everything. I mean, at the end, it's the power is really both in your guys' control. It's going to be hit or miss, but you can make her feel intense attraction just by not doing anything.
But I thought you said be the alpha and you take the lead. But then you said let her take the lead. Now I'm confused.
You could take the lead when it comes to suggestions. So what movie should it be tonight? What meal should it be tonight?
Netflix, at my place, Netflix.
Yeah, stuff like that. But when it comes to decisions, when you just allow a woman to decide interest or to decide that she's interested, decide that there's going to be a conversation, decide that she's going to talk to you, and maybe you bring up the idea of hanging out. But even if you let her bring up the idea of hanging out, she asks you where you live, for example, it is fucking on. It might not happen all the time. It's not going to happen all the time. But just from that narrative alone, you don't have to do anything. It's just on.
You mean they don't really jump up and down for joy over like a 12-inch penis? They really don't. That when they see it, they don't like look at it like they're staring at God Himself. Like
no, they don't care about that. They care about one that's erect. They care about one that's erect, but they don't necessarily.
Yeah, but the girls in the porno movies always go, "Oh my God, you have such a big one." I mean,
true, but that's where porn is being unrealistic. No, girls don't care about.
Girls in real life usually don't.
They care about arousal.
They usually don't say these things in real life. Oh my God! Oh, you're so.
Well, that's where you get frustrated, because that's where I know you're frustrated, James, because of saying one thing but then acting on another. No, they don't care about size, man. They just care if there's arousal.
Well, speaking of that, let's just put it to you this way. I
3 hours
never had a ex who ever used that as an insult. Just saying. But before we, wrap up everything tonight, I have some funny things to leave you with in this very chaotic and disorder. So my old hometown of Chihaya, Virginia, has a place called Griever Drugstore. Well, they have a big sign out front, and they're always changing it, like once or multiple times a week. So I was scrolling through some of the funniest things they've written on this sign, and by far, this is probably the funniest one I've read ever. Pollen, when flowers can't keep it in their plants. Let's see here.
What does that mean?
Use your imagination.
Just say it slowly. What pollen? When flowers can't keep it in their plants. Like a man that can't keep it in his pants.
All right. Yeah, here's how I feel for this week. Dear Monday, go step on a Lego.
That hurts.
Let's see what
Eric decided to split, but I thank Eric for his education, and I always enjoy seeing Eric's refrigerator. He has a good cornucopia of product, and he did give some great pointers on drumsticks.
Beeracopia.
What?
A beeracopia.
A beeracopia. No, it really did it. It was very enticing. It was like better than going to a zoo, which I don't believe in anyway, because it's like a prison for wild animals. But I appreciate his input and giving Damien some pointers with drumsticks and with home brewing.
Yay!
Beer.
Hashtag sometimes America's awesome. But my last two jokes on here. So this is one that took me a moment to think. And then I was like, oh, he just dad joked all of us. My recliner and I, we go way back. And then the last one that he posted this week is probably got to be the funniest one. Besides all the other ones, it's funny in its own way. But it says, due to the shortage of disinfectants, Dirty deeds will no longer be done dirt cheap.
I like that song.
Just like the AC/DC song.
Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Dirty deeds, dirty deeds done dirt. Oh, speaking of recliners, it's a sad story, but this big 280-pound lummox professional wrestler friend of mine accidentally killed his kitten that he didn't know was hiding in the recliner.
Oh, my heart.
So to all you people out there that have kittens and little toy whatever puppies, let's say you got a teacup poodle or whatever, just please, if you have a recliner, don't sit in it unless you examine it thoroughly. So
yeah, we almost had an incident like that with one of our cats. She thought it would be an excellent idea to climb into a dryer with the door slightly open, and we almost started the dryer with her in it.
oh shit. Oh boy. And once it's shut, it's a good chance you won't hear a kitten.
Well, you'd hear like if it's towels or something, you'd hear ka-thud, ka-thud. It'd be like, uh-oh, and if you hear wow, wow, wow with the thuds, you'd know exactly what the hell's going on.
That's true. That's true. But anyway, even though he has a tendency to leave very abruptly, I thank Eric for being on the show and his input and education. And he's a pretty damn good craft beer reviewer. And Michael Hilton in his reviews and his red pill advice early in the show and later in the show. And of course, Damien the Wolfman Owens.
Hell yeah.
That's
Thanks for
right.
tuning in.
The Wolfman Owens was here, and you can't
David
say
was
more
awesome.
than that because he is like a starship coming from the Andromeda Galaxy with a space station and everything attached to it. He's all in one. He's all in one.
Yeah, and I'll explain Sunday night on the show how I decided to come up with AKA Wolfman.
And and finish what you were dabbling with earlier today about the crap that's going on, and then you got your Confederacy Part 3, and then the tarot card should be. I'm telling you, I have a feeling it's going to be a hit. The State of the Union tarot reading on the United States, especially now.
Will there be a nuclear attack while everybody is being overrun by the coronavirus?
No, that's a question you want to ask the divining rods. If you got a yes or no, like if you have a yes or no related question, there is a way to do it with tarot where you have 3 decks that you shuffle. You cut it 3 times, and you turn 13 cards over, but no more than 13. And if you come up with an ace, there's a remote chance it's yes. If you got 2 aces, there's a good chance it's yes. If you got 3 aces, yes, definitely. But only in 3 piles. And that's how you do yes or no according to my book. Shuffle, split it in 3s, and then 1, 2, until you get to 13. Then you stop. But
I got it.
yeah.
This is a proper hazy. This is a proper beer. And if it has citra hop, it's a proper adage of citra. That last beer, 60 out of 100. This, 90 out of 100.
Yeah, the West Coast has some pretty interesting craft beers, and Sierra Nevada, Sierra Nevada Company, and of course New England. And
Gary, what you like Sierra Nevada?
I've had a couple of their beers. They're pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, but it's only going to get better. I mean, there's only going to be more craft beer companies popping up in every state. It will increase.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think even in the South a lot. In the South, it's kind of abandoning its Bible Belt kind of threshold.
Yes, we are. The evangelicals are losing their hold.
Oh,
Nice.
speaking of Southern beer, has anyone tried Magnolia Pecan beer from, like, let's say, Mississippi?
No.
Lazy Magnolia, it's called, the company.
Only beer from Abita Brewing Company, or from Cigar City.
Yeah, there's one called Hopticus, which is a hop with octopus tentacles coming out of it. It's pretty clever. Hopticus, yeah. There's one.
Women don't care about your size. They care if you can walk into a bar and be fucking patient. If you can be really fucking patient.
So you're saying
get them doing all the initial work, that creates immense attraction. Go on.
So what you're saying is you got to be smooth and have swagger.
As your friend does when he goes out to the bar. James.
Smooth. He said smooth. You got to be real smooth. In other words, that means don't give a shit about anything. Do your own thing and not care about who's around you and who likes you and who doesn't like you.
I don't even pay attention to any of that anymore. You know, life is so short and so busy. I'm not going to risk wasting my time.
It is short and pissy. It is.
Yeah.
When you think about it. Huh?
Yeah, man. You can get kissed. You can make out just from doing nothing.
You know, there's a blueberry ale that I've been wanting to try that I see at the Japanese market liquor store. So
what's it called? By Marin Brewing Company?
It's a very beautiful label with a mermaid on the front. It's a blueberry. I think it's a West Coast.
What's the brewery? Is it Marin Brewing Company by any chance?
I have to double check. It's not Japanese. I think it's a West Coast craft beer, but it's a blueberry ale. But then again, just because it's a blueberry ale, that doesn't mean it will be overpowering with, the flavor of blueberry. It might just be a hint of it, But anyway, listen, I'm tired, I'm thirsty, and a tad bit hungry. So let's end it. Thank you guys for everything.
Yeah. See you later.
Bye, everybody.
Let's get the bars back.